Guy Dawson waiting for the punt. Welcome to those of you just joining us. We're at Ford Stadium on the campus of SMU. And Dawson calls for the fair catch and takes it in cleanly for the Horned Frogs' first offensive possession. So if you've just joined us, you haven't missed a thing. SMU went 3 and out with a punt. But SMU's had problems offensively in the first quarter. In fact, they haven't scored a point in the first 3 games of the first 15 minutes this year. Now, Paul Hall, the most efficient quarterback in college football so far this season, and the offense of the Horned Frogs.
Well, you know, last year Russell Wilson in Wisconsin set an NCAA record for passing efficiency with 191. Right now, Casey Paul Hall is at 209. He's rewriting the record books with taking care of the football and making plays.
On the play fake, the ball is batted and deflected by Jagarrett Davis, the weak side backer, a senior from Crockett, Texas, and he was in there in a hurry.
Well, one of the stories today, this is a huge rivalry, Joel. You talk about they played almost every single year for, you know, most of this century. Davis is an active linebacker, comes in and bats this down, but emotion is huge. And this is the biggest game on the schedule for SMU all season. They won at Fort Worth a year ago, and it was one of the 2 BCS wins they've had under June Jones.
Different formation out of the gun. Nobody in the backfield. Middle of the field, a lot of congestion. Closest one was Brandon Carter.
Well, you just look at that glove there that Jim Knox had talked about, and he's looking at the glove, and that ball bounced into the turf. You know, and if you're not used to wearing a glove, it's game day is not the day to kind of break it in sometimes. I think he's kind of getting used to it right now.
Well, you just talked about the rivalry, and it means so much to TCU because of what happened last year. They've won 11 straight games coming in. It is the longest winning streak in college football right now. And the last loss, almost to the day a year ago to SMU.
It was October 1st a year ago in Fort Worth.
Now on 3rd down, ton of time. And the shallow cross won't get enough for the first down, at least at the outset, although Carter's not quitting on the play, is he?
That Carter's a good player, and he doesn't go down easily, as you just saw, but that's a lot of red shirts around Carter on that to get him down and to force a 3 and out themselves. A good opening defensive series for an SMU defense that has really struggled this year.
So Ethan Perry will come in and punt it away for the Horned Frogs.
The big story that June Jones thought today in staying with TCU with special teams. He just thought that they can't let this game get away in this part of the game. A third of the game special teams, their teams have to be special tonight.
Ryan Smith waits for the Perry punt, and he gets a beauty away. Forget about the weather for this young man. Good roll for the Horned Frogs. And a long field when we come back. How about 89 yards? SMU's going to have it the second time offensively, and they'll have it at their own 11 on one of the most beautiful campuses, despite the rain, that you will ever be able to walk on. It just doesn't pay to spend hours getting ready for the game, does it? On a night like this in Dallas, we welcome you back once again. And I was just talking about the longest winning streaks in college football. Baylor lost today. They had the second longest going into the weekend. TCU now ahead of West Virginia and South Carolina, as well as Alabama.
And all Gary Patterson talked to us about this week was getting to 4-0. He doesn't care if it's by a point. He just wants to get to 4-0 because he knows their first year in the Big 12, the schedule is murderer's row as you get towards the second half of the season.
Yeah, the story for his squad in recent years has been their defense, and they are back on the field. SMU from the 11, Zach Line. And we had a fun time talking about him in the opener against Baylor because even though it got away from SMU, Line did not want to leave the game.
No.
He didn't. He never asked out. He got 100 yards. He had a ton of carries, and he wanted the ball.
He got 100 yards in 100-plus degree heat. You know, at Oxford, Michigan. Great story of him getting here. Wasn't recruited by any Division I schools. One of the Detroit Lions PR department heads knew June Jones when June was a coach there back in 1990 and threw a tape at him and said, take a look at this kid, you might like him. And they did, and he's here, and he's had a heck of a career.
There's a false start. So to pound the bad field position on second at about 7, you can make it second and a dozen.
Snap, false start, number 7 of the offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
You know, this weather can do a lot of things, and one of them today is the equipment manager, Albert Vetchius of SMU. he spent a large part of the morning taking the face mask, the glass mask, off of the helmets of SMU because there's no windshield wipers here. So anybody that had a mask on, you know, just covering their eyes and the shield is gone right now. 26 shields off helmets this morning.
He was busy, is what you're saying.
He was busy.
From the outside of the 8, little bubble screen is dropped. It falls incomplete off the hands of Garrick Dieter, who had 4 catches in the opener. Well, I mentioned they don't have a point in the first quarter so far this year, and that's SMU. While TCU has held their opponents, well, there's only 1 touchdown so far this season against the TCU defense. They've outscored their opponents, though, by 39 the first 15 minutes of play. Pretty impressive.
And this is not where you want to be against TCU's defense, which is gambling and blitzing on 3rd and 12, backed up in your own end zone.
Pocket holds up, middle screen, squirts right through the hands of Zach Line. They were ready for it if he held on to the football.
Well, already we've seen the weather have, you know, we've seen the ball bounce off shoulder pads and bounce off hands, and really that's when things get most dangerous, is when the ball gets deflected in the middle of the field. And TCU speed, which is about as fast as it gets in this country. They're young, but they're fast. That's what you worry about, is those deflected interceptions.
Dawson waits back deep once again for the punt from Mike Loftus, sophomore from Anaheim, California. And a fair catch is called for with good field position guaranteed if he hangs onto it. He did, as it squirted free out of bounds, though. Well, in that last sequence, you saw the pressure that you're going to see regularly. Devontae Fields getting pressure early and busting up the play. He was ready for Zach Line in case he got to it. And that's going to be the story. Holding on to it today for the Mustangs and the Horned Frogs.
Some people say, do one thing and do it well.
Welcome back. Just a couple of minutes from downtown Dallas. You don't have to go to the store to buy one of those, what are the slides that you used to get as kids?
Kids will always find a way to entertain themselves.
Well, you can save money, too.
Look at that.
It's built in here in Dallas tonight.
What is going on out there? Oh, head first. I think that's the way to do it.
It's a first down for the Horned Frogs at the midfield stripe. Man, lugging it pretty well up the middle. 8 for Matthew Tucker, who tonight is our Academy Sports Right Stuff player. He is starting due to the injury. Wayman James, who's the #1 tailback, he's out for the season.
Yeah, you know, but really for Matthew Tucker, you know, he is a senior. This is a big moment for him. He scored 27 career touchdowns, you know, so it's not like he hasn't been out there. You know, they thought they were going to be in great shape at the running back position, but then suspension, guys to the NFL, injuries, and now Matthew Tucker's the guy.
On 9, or first down, he got 9. It'll be 2nd and a yard, and an easy one there as Hunt trips up the quarterback. Pahal called his own, the junior from Brownwood, Texas, and he's got some size. Let's face it, 6'5", 225.
Well, he's a big kid. He's a big, tough kid, and he's not really a great runner, but there he just got enough to move the chains. So he used his size. You know, he kind of a bruised shoulder last week in that win against Virginia. Knocked out for a little bit. He was back. Those girls don't look like they're affected by the weather. They look like they're rather enjoying it. Singing in the rain.
The spirit.
Yes, college spirit.
Tucker slips a little bit as he tried to make the cut at the initial point of entry. It's maybe a loss of a half a yard. What were the biggest adjustments for you, equipment-wise, Brian?
Well, I mean, you know, first of all, you got to make sure you get the right shoes. You know, so he's stumbling going into the line of scrimmage. So anybody that's got to make that quick, sudden cut, like Tucker does right there, you see the left foot come right out from underneath him. So it's really incumbent upon the player to go out there and test his shoes in these conditions so he doesn't slip like that.
It'll be 2nd and 10 now. Outside of the 39. Tucker slipping again. No gain on the carry.
So if I'm Gary Patterson right now, I'm literally pulling him off the field going, what are you wearing? Because that's 2 slips in a row going into the line of scrimmage, and he's shaking his head right now. But that's what he has to do. I mean, there's all kinds of shoes. Those are short cleats right there, and that's an artificial surface, but they got longer cleats. You know, I mean, you're going to have to adjust it right now. Yeah, that's the 2nd time. Exact same footing. Left foot out from underneath him, trying to make that sharp left-hand turn.
Empty backfield for Pahal. He's downwind on a 3rd and 10. It's lost, and it's a fumble. It is going the other way. It's complete, but it is a fumble, they say. And it's picked up by the D-back on that side, Randall Joyner.
Well, there's the first turnover of the day, and that's to be expected on these kind of conditions. And I think there's a penalty going to be against TCU after the play.
After the interception and during the return, personal foul, face mask, number 4 of the offense. The penalty would be 15 yards, first down.
That's on the quarterback, Paul Hall. Now, Joyner, who made the fumble recovery, is in there due to the injury to Cameron Rogers. He's out with a shoulder. So first, after the reception, the ball hitting the ground, Joyner alertly taking it after Carter put it on the ground, and the penalty at the end of the play. Good field position for the Mustangs. 8 minutes and 40 seconds left in the opening 15 minutes of play. They're working on the non-throwing hand of quarterback Casey Paul. You'll see him at the end of the play make a stop.
Well, this is the strip here of Carter by Jeremy Gray. It's just, that's not weather related. He just punched that ball out like he popped a balloon, and then in was Randall Joyner, and the face mask at the end of the play giving.
Let's check in with Jim Knox. Jim.
Yeah, guys, right when Casey Paul came to the sidelines after making that tackle, he was in a great deal of pain. They were looking at his left middle index finger, non-throwing hand, like you said, Joel. He's in a great deal of pain. What they're doing, they're going to tape it up, and he will be back in.
And as you can see, the umpire is making sure until the last second there's a towel on the football to help the situation.
Try to keep it as dry as possible, as long as possible.
So off the turnover, SMU at the TCU 43. And Gilbert didn't take the ball with him, and it was a good snap.
Yep.
So a loss of about 5.
You've got to really, Joel, you mentioned, what do you do here in this kind of conditions? I mean, you just got to concentrate. This isn't like at practice right now. This isn't, you know, here in Dallas on a 75-degree sunny day. You got to look that ball all the way into your hands. That's all on Garrett there. You know, that loss of 4 yards on first down, that's critical here this afternoon in these kind of conditions.
It's frustrating enough, the kind of start he's had. He's got more interceptions than touchdowns over the first 3 games. And while most quarterbacks are 60+%, the completion ratio, he's at 53. Zach Line drops it, and it's loose for the taking. It's covered. TCU's Chris Hackett comes up with it, the redshirt freshman. And the Horned Frogs now take over.
Well, Hackett is getting the start today, you know, at safety in place of Jonathan Anderson. I mean, Hackett played great last week, and he earned the starting spot. But really, again, it's just a careless play this time by Zach Line. He's making a normal cut like it's a nice day. He's following his guard, McJunkin, and that ball just popped out.
It looked like McJunkin may have hit it.
Maybe it might have
on his hip
run to the back of the guard.
What's this?
The
foot.
The foot kicked it out, yeah. But you can see, I mean, if the foot is kicking it out, I mean, you're just not really squeezing that ball.
Right.
You got to be extra careful right now in these conditions.
From the 41 now. Back-to-back giveaways. Just pounding it is Tucker. Now, I mentioned they're downwind, and they've got an outstanding place kicker. Despite the force of the precipitation tonight, it's a gain of 3 for Tucker.
Now, in addition to the weather and the conditions, now Paul Hall has a finger that may have been dislocated. He was injured, you know, on the fumble on the series before, and so he's got it taped.
And a new quarterback has just come into the game. Trayvon Boykin, redshirt freshman from Mesquite, Texas, and it's going to be his call all the way. He's running for the first down, and he's out of bounds, taking it on the defensive back, Chris Parks.
But when he's in the game, expect a wildcat, expect the run. I mean, he has thrown 9 passes this year, but he's strictly in there to kind of jumpstart this offense. Faster, more athletic than Paul Hall, and you can see the strength as he flips Chris Parks at the end of that play.
So Boykin stays in the game, as you mentioned. The first thing you think is run.
Yeah.
And look at the punch on the bottom of your screen.
The diamond at the bottom. It's almost.
False start.
Right to the snap. False start. 64 the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
So different voice, different cadence.
Well, look, it is that. And then it's sloppy right now. Let's just face it. I mean, there's fumbles that nobody can hang on to the ball. And so you look at Paul Hall back in the game right now. You can look at the lens that we're shooting through right now. It's sloppy, and whoever is going to take care of this football is going to have probably the best chance to win it right now. Neither team can hang on to it.
It is still first down from the 34. Delay for Tucker. And maneuvering very effectively down to the 25 after a spin. Get a little alley early, and then he made a nice run after the contact. Brought down by the backer, strong side backer, Sanders.
This Matthew Tucker, I think he just needs a chance to really just run. I mean, he is 227 pounds. He's solid. You can see the suddenness, the stop and the start. I mean, that's all the skills any running back would want. To spin in the hole, breaking tackles in the gauntlet like that.
Personal foul at the end of the play. Dead ball. They already had about 10 on the carry, needed 5, but that's an automatic first down on the mark-off all the way down inside the 15 and close to the 12.
Both teams, guilty of critical mistakes in this first quarter. SMU last year in that upset win in Fort Worth, they jumped out to a 17-0 lead. Really caught TCU napping a year ago.
It'll be Tucker again. Boy, he's got 2 hands. He's just wrapped up the ball. He protected it down to the 10. Well, the red zone has not been kind. In fact, the red zone for TCU has produced too many turnovers over the first 3 games.
Well, 5. I guess 6 counting today, the earlier turnover. But yeah, too many turnovers right there. And the only way that you stop that is by concentration. I mean, you bring awareness to it, you emphasize it, and then if you're guilty more than once, you get taken off the field. Paul Hall throwing an interception in the red zone in that big win against Virginia a week ago.
Spread the defense. He has hardly thrown the ball today. He threw a couple early. Didn't throw any in the second series. And now looking for 6, and he's got it. Touchdown TCU as he went to Ladarius Brown.
That was a good throw. That's a good throw because it was away from the defender. It's almost a back shoulder throw to Ladarius Brown. And SMU rushed 4, and they didn't get near Paul Hall. Look at this throw. There's 4-man rush, nice pocket, away from the defender. Chris Parks on the play. Really couldn't put it in there any better, especially under the conditions.
So the redshirt freshman from Waxahachie with the first points of the day on the throw by Paul Hall. The extra point from Obercroft and an early lead for the 15th ranked Horned Frogs. So they capitalize on the turnover and the short field. The fumble by Linehacker with the recovery and the touchdown for Brown and TCU. Welcome back to Dallas. It's been dry this summer in this part of the country, and they are trying to make up for it in a 24-hour period. It's not deterring these guys, is it?
It is Saturday night. It's Saturday night on the college campus.
They're talking to you with Pony Up.
Well, I can't move like that. But Ladarius Brown in the end zone for TCU, putting him on the scoreboard. All you do is have fun and embrace this.
There's the skillet. Iron skillet game.
If you don't pay attention tonight, Joel, I'm going to hit you over the head with one of those, all right? Bring you around.
Sounds like a Stooges sketch. So SMU with only 1 yard of total offense on their first 3 series. Gets it back if they can hang on to the West. Obercroft kicks it away. Lofton puts a knee down. Now SMU is going to have it on the touchback. Well, another day of college football, a full day next Saturday. And it starts right here with 24th ranked Boise State. Baldy will be there taking on Southern Miss, ready for Hattiesburg. It's followed by Iowa State and these same TCU Horned Frogs. Then FX game of the week, in-state showdown. Jayhawks, Wildcats, the battle for the Sunflower State. Our coverage of college football continues next Saturday right here and also on FX. They've got the right idea.
They don't look like they're having any fun.
They're
getting
dry.
A cheap seat, I
guess.
They're
dry.
They're staying a little dry. Something Garrett Gilbert's trying to keep that right hand of his as he continues to towel it off. Got the muffler going, got the towel, everything to try and keep that ball in his hand.
Flag, it could be offside. The completion goes to Darius Johnson. Wrapped up immediately by Barrett. And were they offside trying to time the rush? It's a gain of about 8. It is offside.
Offsides, yeah, against the defense. Mike's not working because of the weather. Interesting, just talking to June Jones before the game, they don't practice throwing with a wet ball. You know, it's like, just come out and if you can throw it, you can throw it, regardless of the conditions. I mean, June Jones started this offense at Portland State with Mouse Davis, where it rained every day. They're used to throwing a wet ball.
And on the other side, every Thursday at the end of practice, the Horned Frogs work only with wet balls.
Yeah. Brett Favre used to practice it every Thursday up in Green Bay. I used to watch guys dip a ball into a wet bucket and throw it to him and let him toss it.
On the delay. It's a 1st and 5 situation out to about the 32. Mapunga on the stop.
Yes, Stanley Mapunga. All right, one of the really elite defensive ends in the country. Was born in Zimbabwe. Speak the native language, but grew up playing rugby and soccer, but has tremendous athletic ability and strength. Benches 550 pounds, squats 800 pounds. This is a guy that really plays well on the edge, and in really the way a lot of these TCU defensive players have gone to the NFL. He's just got great talent and well coached.
Just 9,000 miles from Zimbabwe to the Fort Worth campus. Gilbert finds it. There's a flag down to the middle for the umpire where you normally see a hold. All for naught. Keenan Holman could not hang on to the football as Chris Hackett was defending.
Looking at the center, Taylor Lasecki, who's limping.
On the
hand
rush.
to the face there. I see Mapunga shaking his head. Could very well have been him. This ball's behind Holman there.
Gets under the mask.
Yeah. Gets under the mask of the right tackle, Brian Collins. And they flagged it. So SMU gets a break, getting a first down by penalty. But we haven't seen really, Gary Patterson's defense right now. He likes playing it aggressive. He's also the defensive coordinator, extremely animated and passionate about what he's done. In 12 seasons at TCU, nobody could have done it any better than Gary Patterson.
Gilbert just 1 for 4 throwing the football so far. And the crossing pattern, it's picked off. It's going the other way. Autobode maneuvering his way, needs one block. It's only Gilbert, and Gilbert may get him, and does. So Autobode, the free safety with the pick, and TCU deep in SMU territory.
But he has been a takeaway machine at safety form, involved in takeaways in each of the first 3 games and now the first 4 games, and this is just a bad throw. I don't care what the conditions are. This ball is late. It's across his body and over the middle. Autobode, all he's doing is reading Gilbert's eyes on that play as he tried to go to Darius Johnson on it. But he was late across your middle. I mean, it's just a forbidden throw. And the only good thing was Gilbert was able to bring him down and save the touchdown.
He has been part of a takeaway in each of their 4 games now. A big-time playmaker, and again, thrown behind the wide receiver. So Gilbert's got 5 picks with 3 TDs over the first 3+ games.
Well, I don't know how long they're going to be able to stay with him. I mean, June has anointed him the starter, but he certainly hasn't played well.
Exceptional penetration up front. Torian Pittman, the nose tackle. Did he ever torpedo that play?
Well, their front 3, I mean, between Pittman, Grenier, and Hunt, it is an active 3-man front. They play a 3-4, and those 3 down linemen are heavily involved.
Unfortunately, offside, SMU.
That's Marcus Hunt. Yeah, he's looked like it was Pittman that was early jumping the snap. Either he timed it so well or he was just a hair early.
And these are not replacement officials, we remind you.
No, we had enough of those on Monday night.
Markov down to the 4. Counter action for Tucker. Man, you were talking about Hunt. He tied him up momentarily. Boy, they have to gang tackle Tucker, don't they?
He's powerful. I mean, you could just tell. Just the leg drive and how many, Mustangs it takes to get him down. And it's something that you have to talk about. I mean, it's a run formation all the way. You see Hunt. I mean, Hunt's 280 pounds. He runs right through his tackle.
How tough is it with a wet jersey?
Well, I mean, it's slippery, right, Joe? I mean, you're not going to be able to get the same grip that you're used to getting. So it's a factor.
2nd and goal. It's the fullback banging his way inside the 2. He's short of the goal line by about 1.5 yards. Ladarius Sanders on the run.
Now, one thing about TCU, and really SMU talked about this week, it might be the most complete offense in all of football. I mean, you know, they can run power, they can run I formation, spread, you know, pistol, power pistol. I mean, they've got it all, and they use it all. And really, Paul Hall is the key. Here's a power formation, almost similar to the old wishbone with 3 backs in the backfield. Now, you get the motion here of Carter.
On the roll, Paul Hall, touchdown. He's got Tucker. TCU gets another.
Casey Paul Hall came in today as the efficiency passing leader in the country, and nobody's even close. And it's plays like this. I mean, this is just highly efficient, like just a sprint right option. Tucker just leads him perfectly, throws the ball on the run very well. I think that glove that he's throwing with in his wet conditions working out pretty good for him.
Joyner could not keep up. The outside backer with the tailback. Oberkrom with the point after. And an early 14-point lead for the Horned Frogs. They want payback for what happened last year on their home field. Their last loss, it came to the Mustangs of SMU in overtime. So, points off turnovers. And that's an interception by Olabode that set this up at the SMU 8.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a poor throw on a rollout. This ball was a fumble early. And then here's the fumble by Zach Line. Got it punched out by a foot. Great hustle on the outside. And then this throw by Gilbert late across his body to Johnson, intercepted by Olabode.
So the last thing you can afford to do when you're a huge underdog to begin with is give the ball away to the opposition. A team that's one of the best in the nation defensively. They're right now 4th overall defensively. They have allowed the fewest points in the nation, only 4 a game.
Well, they've only given up 1 touchdown, right? Just the 1 touchdown last week when under 5 minutes to go in the game against Virginia in garbage time. You know, they gave up 2 field goals to Kansas. They shut out Grambling. So really, I mean, and they've only got 1 senior that's starting. This is a very young team. Had a lot of players that were kicked off the team with suspension, off the field problems, some graduates, transfers, and so they're left with a very young team. They're playing a lot of freshmen. 15 freshmen are playing and contributing on this team.
That's Oberkrom, a true freshman who just kicked it away and taking it with a knee is lofted. Another touchback out to the 25. And that's where SMU will start with the ball. Well, Gary Patterson in 12 years has formed the Horned Frogs program to one of the very best on both sides of the line and what they've done in the win column.
Well, look at the company that they're keeping. Now, we all know what they've done up at Boise, but certainly Nick Saban with a couple national championships there in Roll Tide country. We know what Chip Kelly has done up there in Eugene, Oregon. I mean, Gary Patterson is making that sort of impression here in the state of Texas. Nobody has more wins in the state of Texas since 2005.
He is the all-time winningest coach in Horned Frog history. About 112 and 30, winning almost 80%
You'll
of
take
his
that,
games.
won't you?
Man, to the racetrack. Garrett Gilbert throwing on first down with the heat coming and throws it wide of his intended target, Derek Thompson. So he's off the mark again.
He's off the mark, and really you cannot. I mean, what I was really concerned about was SMU with a rebuilt offensive line. Could they protect? But they're giving Gilbert protection. He had plenty of time to throw that ball. You know, and he just hasn't been on. He's not putting the ball on the numbers where it needs to be. And if you're going to run a run and shoot offense, your quarterback has got to be 65 to 70% completion.
He is only 1 for his 6th thus far. They won last year, don't forget, with J.J. McDermott.
Yep.
And 460 yards against TCU's defense last year in this game. Here comes the heat. And off the fingertips on the late outlet pass. It was Darius Johnson who was like a secondary target at the end of the play.
Well, one thing that TCU is doing is they're taking his first read away. You're constantly seeing him reset his feet, reshuffle, move in the pocket in order to find his secondary or third receiver. That's the only senior there. Kenny Kane, a linebacker here, the only senior on TCU's defense.
The Big 12's Defensive Player of the Week, Kenny Kane.
Yeah, 2 interceptions.
That was, yes.
Last week against Virginia.
And the week before, Joel Haslett was the Big 12's Defensive Player of the Week and the win over Kansas. So you got your 2 backers.
Here they are. They played 2 backers and 5 defensive backs.
Underneath And another drop. You wouldn't have picked up the first down anyway, the way it appeared. And it was covered, but dropped just the same by Darius Johnson. Boy, an ugly start.
Well, it's just awful. It's awful in every single category here. You know, and really, it's up to June right now because they're not playing with any confidence. They're not playing with any efficiency right now, and it can't be just the weather. You know, this.
You both have to deal with the weather.
Yeah, you both have to deal with it. And at some point in your career, you're going to play in bad weather, and so you can't just be a good weather team. I know it doesn't do this in Dallas-Fort Worth very often, but this has got to be disappointing to June Jones here, especially in light of the overtime victory against TCU a year ago.
Timeout for TCU, as they should get the ball back in good field position again with the punter. Loftus punting into the wind, and the rain is sideways for a reason. The wind is at the back of TCU when they get the football once again. So that may have something to do with the timeout.
Well, you can see the flags whipping. So I mean, it's more than just the rain right now. It's rain and wind, and so it's affecting SMU far more than TCU. Great state of Texas flag in the middle there, Lone Star State.
So what can Loftus do with this one?
Well, he's had good hang time so far, and it's really limited the returns of the Horned Frogs.
Got it away in time despite the bobble. Sky Dawson from the 38. And goes out of bounds across the 40. And a flag late, very late, where you'll see a personal foul.
The best thing SMU has done today is punt the ball.
That was a 38-yarder. Let's see if they got the mic back. The mic went out with the wet weather for our referee.
Hold against TCU. Personal foul? Personal foul.
Sporting the waterproof watch, Gary Patterson. He burned some calories during the game, by the way.
He is animated.
We spent some time with Gary yesterday, and he'll get into it. As you can see, they might be up, and they might have gone 3 and out, but he saw something. Obviously, he wanted to get across on his special teams to Dawson.
Well, he wants to fix it. You know, he wants to fix the issue. You know, and they want to be a nationally top 10 ranked team. In order to do that, you know, you got to fix the issues during the game as a teaching tool.
Tucker angling across the 30 out to the 31, brought down by Stephon Sanders, strong side backer.
I think it's been a good job by the offensive line here today. Most offensive linemen enjoy playing in this kind of weather. I mean, they're just grazers.
Well, wouldn't they rather have mud?
Yeah, well, they would.
Right.
You know, we don't have that. But you know, they've got only 2 seniors up there right now that that came back. Fry and Fultz, the center and the right guard. Everybody else is new, developing, young. You can see right there, Fry calling out the defense. Next to him, Eric Tausch turning around, and he's telling Paul Hall right now they're ready to go.
Quarterback draw all the way. He called his own number, maintains his balance, and stumbles for 4 up to the 35 for a 3rd and 2. Where he's brought down by Taylor Reed, the middle linebacker.
See, they go silent count on the road, and so the left guard on that play, Eric Tausch, he'll turn around and tell Paul Hall when they're ready to snap it. It used to be all on the center, but it was difficult for the center to always look through his legs and still see what the defense was doing. So now the guard is in charge of telling the quarterback they're ready.
Unfortunately, a Mustang dad. You were talking about Eric Tausch. His dad, Terry, played 8 years in the NFL.
Yeah, played with the Vikings, former Longhorn. Always good to see, the baby growing up to be a big old lineman just like his dad.
What you just brought up, his dad a Longhorn. There are a number of players in preparing for this game that went to TCU, and they're played 15 true freshmen already this year. A number of those players had options with Oklahoma, with potentially Texas. They were offered scholarships elsewhere. So 15 true freshmen have already played this year. They only have 11 scholarship seniors, 16 overall, 11 on scholarship.
12 juniors. I mean, this is a very young team. He doesn't use it as an excuse. I mean, they're getting these younger players experience. They're growing up in a hurry because he knows the schedule, the new Big 12 schedule, as they go from Mountain West to Big 12 this year. He knows that schedule is going to get tougher as the season goes on, so he's trying to get these guys as much experience as possible.
Too many penalties early. That's the only negative for TCU. 6 for 55 yards, looking at a 3rd and 2. Tucker laying over to the right side. He's got a first down across the 40. Goes down and tripped up by Acker at the 41.
Well, he's going to cut right off those two seniors, Fry and Foltz here. Going to be a little cutback right to the right. He sees it clear and clean. Really, they needed a safety to fill that gap. They were late to get there.
And do they need to take another snap? Final 20 seconds of a long first 15 minutes of play. But you can understand, play clocks aren't working. They're not operating either. You joined us a little bit late. Started raining last night, and it has been pounding the Dallas area for the last 24 hours. And did they get it off in time? No. That'll do it for the first 15 minutes of play. One dominated by TCU thanks to the SMU turnovers in short fields.
14 points.
Paul making the most of it, capitalizing on those mistakes, and the Horned Frogs are up by 14. Welcome back to the start of the second quarter in Dallas. 14-0 TCU as we check in with Jim Knox. Jim.
All right, on the sidelines right now, Bo Barnes, defensive end of SMU, took a shot to the head. The trainers were checking him out. Now, guys, something like this, one of the other trainers walked off with his helmet, so he's not going back in without his helmet. He would have picked up that helmet and got back in, but they said, no way, not right now. We got to check you out further before you get back in.
Sophomore from Friendswood, Texas.
Looked like the foot of Paul Hall kicked him right in underneath the helmet there.
First snap of the second quarter. A little swing out in the flat. Man, first touch for Catalan, the true freshman from Houston. It's positive yardage and led perfectly by Paul Hall.
Yeah, you know, and I'm impressed here in these conditions. Paul Hall throwing with the glove right now. He's been accurate. He's been spot on. You know, he dislocated a finger early in the game. He shook that off, taped it up. You know, he just shows just great grit and toughness. Remember now, he took over for Andy Dalton, who was the best quarterback, since Sammy Baugh at TCU, and obviously doing a great job in the NFL and filled those footsteps, but, he's continuing right where Dalton left off.
Got rid of it with a lot of heat in his face. It falls incomplete. Wide of the intended target, Josh Boyce. And when you talk about Paul Hall, remember, back-to-back at TCU. I know it's a long time ago, 70 years, but they had Sammy Baugh and Davey O'Brien, and they overlapped by a year.
I mean, to this day, right? To this day, I mean, it's the best quarterback in the country is awarded the Davey O'Brien Trophy.
On the opposite side, you see those numbers for Paul Hall. Garrett Gilbert has started 1 for 8 with a pick. It'll be 3rd and 5.
Empty backfield here, 3-by-2 set, 3 receivers to the top, 2 to the bottom.
Paul in trouble. And it didn't look like he was outside of the tackle box.
He wasn't, and there's nobody over there.
Right.
I mean, to me, that's intentional grounding.
Good heat from Marcus Hunt, the right end. The only Estonian we know playing college football today.
Right, and there's one in the NFL.
Okay.
Michael
I
Roos.
said college.
You did say college. You covered yourself. Look, it's just a 3-man rush, and there's just nobody open. They got 8 guys covered, but that's in the pocket, and there's no receiver over there. He's just heaving it to save the sack. To me, I don't know how you can't rule that intentional grounding. Perhaps Sky Dawson was over there, number 11, but not within 15 yards.
Ethan Perry gets into it. Ryan Smith staying away, and like everything else, it is rolling TCU's way. Inside the 15, they'll touch it between the 13 and 14. So the Mustangs in a big hole. They need their quarterback to turn things around. And when we come back, the rain continues to pelt Gerald Ford Stadium.
Yeah.
Some of the guys are having fun around
Somebody's
here,
having
though.
a good time.
Not the Mustangs for the most part, though. Welcome back once again to Dallasville. As you can tell, it's a beautiful night for baseball, isn't it? Time for a Mazda game break as we join Kevin Frazier and Marcus Allen. Guys.
Joel, thanks a lot. Plenty dry here in the studio. Let's get you caught up on some of the great action going on, and let's go to the Texas-Oklahoma State game. First possession for Oklahoma State and Joseph Randall, Marcus.
An insane move by Joseph Randall right there. Then he breaks a tackle. All he did was score touchdowns last year, and he's at it again this year, Kevin.
Cowboys strike early, 7-0. Joel?
Thank you, Kevin. Boy, shouting, tackling there, and you know, a lot of people say, does Texas deserve the ranking they have this early?
Well, you know, they're undefeated. You know, we got to play on the schedule. This is their first big test. Oklahoma State still bouncing back from that defeat at Arizona, but certainly in Stillwater, they've got a lot of fans. It's a rowdy scene.
Inside of 14 left in the half here on the campus of SMU, and let's see if the Mustangs can get their act together. Time for Garrett Gilbert, and his best throw by far goes to Jeremy Johnson, the junior from Tyler, Texas. He's close to the first down marker.
Well, that time, I thought Garrett Gilbert just stepped into his throw. You know, he threw it with conviction. The best throw that he's had all night, only a second completion. And I thought it was good protection here. I mean, good pocket to throw in there. That's a stick throw. And look, if you're an SMU receiver and you're catching the ball in the middle of the field, you're going to get hit by a defense that has a lot of speed. They get to the ball in a hurry.
He's in the plus category now. Negative yardage before that one. Zach Line on the slight delay. Good yardage across the 30-yard line up to the 31 for about 6, brought down by Mapunga. Well, that's their bread and butter, and let's see if they can utilize Line but keep him honest with the pass.
Well, you know, Zach Line, June Jones talked about him. He said, you know, this is Barry rules. I mean, he coached in Detroit with Barry Sanders, and when your best player is your running back, you got to get him involved. Even if you're down 14-0, I mean, what they need to do is a methodical drive here to cut this lead in half. They need a touchdown on this drive, get back into this game, get the fans, and keep the fans in.
The Iron Skillet game, which started back in 1950, the rival between TCU and SMU. Second less than 5, a drop. Wide open Keenan Holman. He tried to run before he had it.
Yeah, and that has nothing to do with the weather. I mean, that's just exactly what you said, Joel, just a lack of concentration on the outside. And for a game where, you know, it's built on emotion and the Battle of Dallas-Fort Worth, I mean, SMU right now is just doing the little things poorly. I mean, it's just poor fundamentals.
Another flag down. Mark it off against SMU. And a big one. 10 yards. Back to the 20. So you're already down by 14, and now you're off schedule at 2nd and long. So holding goal instead of 3rd and less than 5. 2nd and 15. See if they can give him some time. Empty backfield, and Gilbert's got the wide receiver Darius Johnson, and he's got enough for the first down. Ran a good route that time, didn't he?
Yeah, he sure did. I was looking at Blake McJunkin, the right guard for SMU, who was slow to get up on the play. Father Kirk played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can see he's out in guys rolling at the legs of Garrett Gilbert. Good concentration that time by Johnson, looking it into his hands.
And he took the route about a yard or two beyond the stripe.
That was smart.
He went right where he had to go.
Officials drying the ball off one last time, one last second. Try to get it as dry as possible for Gilbert.
So back-to-back first downs for the first time of the game for SMU. Line with penetration to the backfield and a hold in the takedown, but they'll let it go.
I did let that one go. Good eyes,
Brian Collins, the right tackle.
He sure did.
It was an arm drag and a toss.
Well, he's going right up against Stanley Mapunga. I mean, this is what you're talking about right here. There's the takedown. Is that still 2 points in wrestling?
Depends if it's complete conversion. And is it dual conversion, dual possession on the takedown?
See, that Mapunga now is strong, and he plays with great leverage. And like that doesn't show up in the stat column, but you know, he got great penetration. He's shaking his head like, didn't see that one. And, they always said you could call holding on every play. Maybe they just missed that.
Because of him, a loss of 3 on 2nd and 13. Gilbert, and he's got the arm, and it's dropped again by Johnson. Boy, can he throw it any better?
No, and he put it right where he had to. And he got good protection that time, especially from his running back, Zach Line, who slid and went out on Mapunga on that play. Watch this over here. I mean, here's the big block on the outside. That's not easy. Stones Mapunga at the line of scrimmage, and so Gilbert had plenty of time to throw a good ball. And, No, they just can't put it all together right now.
It'll be 3rd and long.
If his line is coming out of the game, that means SMU is going to go to 5 wide receivers here, 5 true receivers. And they do.
Need to take it across the 45. Underneath. And a good run after the catch. Now a decision to be made after the grab by Cole Lofton, the senior of Aledo, Texas. Chucky Hunter got him from behind.
Where are they going to spot this, Joe? They're going to be just a few inches short here. No, they're going to give it to him.
That is generous.
Yeah,
I thought he was short by about a half a yard.
Well, maybe the slide at the end.
Yeah, but that's on the hill in the grass. Okay. That's not on the field of play.
Well, that's what those kids were doing earlier. Look at his slide. Look where he's down.
Yeah.
See, I mean, but that's hard to see exactly where that ball went down. I mean, that's a 4-yard slide, right? Look at that. He's way short.
Was he out of the base path?
In the NFL, of course, you can review that in the NFL. He was far short of the 45.
Zach Line back into the contest, and he's wide open in the flat, and he never saw him. Unbelievable. The grab is made, and it's a good gain for Darius Johnson with was it a horse collar?
I think so.
But Zach Line would have gone for 6. I promise you.
I think the underneath shallow cross was a good decision.
Okay. This is our first disagreement.
It's a horse collar right there. 15 yards will be tacked on to that play. So SMU with the best field position they've had today. Olabo, who has an interception today. Plenty of time. There's the cross. I don't know how you can argue that. I mean, you get Darius Johnson on the
took 6 away from
run.
Zach Line. Nobody ever went to Zach Line on the opposite side. He was uncovered.
He's running the play that's called.
Uncovered. First down at the 23. And the penetration pays off because Line only gets 2. And that's almost like a dead stop with the way Line runs it. Kuntz is over there.
Well, the thing that's going on now is for the first time today, SMU's defense is getting a rest. You know, as SMU is methodically moving this ball, getting first downs. Got 4 first downs in this drive right now, eating a little bit of clock, actually huddling up, which is a good move, I think, to kind of slow it down just a little bit and concentrate on the execution part.
He's starting to pick it up. And you see the way it began for Garrett Gilbert. 2nd and 8. Line. Good footwork. Wow. He's got the first down, and he's got a touchdown. SMU on the board.
Boy, they needed that. That is a great effort by Zach Line, because he actually went backwards to go forwards. Turned his back to the defense. SMU looking on the replay to see just how he did that. But that's right back in the game, and it's no surprise that it's Zach Line. Just an inside dive. Look at this.
What about the short, choppy steps?
Yeah. No, good balance, and then a little hop, and a good finish.
A 21-yard touchdown run by Line. Hover in for the point after. And we've got a brand new ball game. It's only a 7-point deficit for the Mustangs. So after they did absolutely nothing for the first 15 minutes of the first drive of the second quarter, 86 yards. It'll look really strong. 14-7, Horned Frogs on top. Fox College Football, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com. And fortunately, Brian Baldinger has not been on that. I'd feel for that horse.
That's Peruna 9.
Man, would I feel for that pony.
Yeah, I would too. Ponies don't like me, though. I mean, from the day I took my first pony ride, they didn't like me. I've been bucked off all of them.
I think they speak for all ponies.
All ponies. I actually took a mule up in Greece one time, Santorini, and the mule died on the way up the hill.
There's a pony that's found pay dirt pretty frequently.
Yeah.
Zach Line going for 21 there. 37 rushing touchdowns.
What a career.
4th most among active players. Now, will they bring it out? Yes. Coming out with it, it is Chris Hackett, and a good maneuver by Hackett all the way across the 30. Good return as the Horned Frogs, with the rain still pounding the field here at Gerald Ford, will take over at their own 31. Well, next Saturday, Aaron Andrews, Eddie George, Joey Arrington get you ready for kickoff. It's the Ford Fox College Saturday pregame show. Then a doubleheader. It all starts with a Pac-12 matchup. Arizona taking on a Stanford team. They're trying to bounce back after getting knocked off at Washington on Thursday. And then a Big 12 matchup. It's West Virginia taking on 12th ranked Texas. What a game. West Virginia only put 70 up today. Coverage of Fox College football. It all starts Saturday, 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 out on the West Coast. Big hold up the middle. And barreling his way through. It's Tucker up to the 31 for a gain of 5.
How about Geno Smith today for West Virginia? He threw 6 incompletions and 8 touchdown passes and over 650 yards passing against Baylor, who put up 63. 19 touchdowns in that game.
So Phil Bennett and Baylor, they still have just a little work to do defensively.
I think they got a little more work to do.
Matthew Tucker, the single to the setback. Offside, or was it a false start because they brought Hunt across the line?
Wow, they're going to take it against TCU here.
Right side.
Yeah.
Brought Hunt
Moved
over.
early.
Well, Baylor, West Virginia today was some kind of story. I mean, 133 points combined.
Yeah.
70-63. West Virginia won.
And there's no arena game that's ever been played, that had quite that many touchdowns scored. Terrence Williams, how about that? I mean, a record 314 receiving yards. Taking over for Kendall Wright, who now plays for the Tennessee Titans.
Mountaineers, welcome to the Big 12.
Yeah, huh?
2nd and 10 from the 31. Time for Paul Hall. It's thrown behind and short of his intended target. His tight end, Griffin Gilbert, the younger brother.
How about that?
Of Garrett Gilbert.
Yep. Never a bad day when your brothers are on the field together, parents in the stands. They don't mind the rain. Griffin Gilbert was the most highly recruited tight end in the state of Texas. Garrett Gilbert, the most highly recruited quarterback in the state of Texas.
Lake Travis High School.
Yeah, Lake Travis High School, not bad. Yale Gilbert, former NFL quarterback.
Now,
good bloodlines.
It's a big third down for SMU's defense for field position purposes. Blitz coming off the edge. Time for Paul Hall. And what a grab. It's complete to Sky Dawson. He was all tangled up and freed himself clear. Boy, reading it perfectly. There was heat in the face of Paul Hall at the end.
Well, the quarterback got knocked down, the receivers knocked down, and Paul Hall, I mean, this throw is the best throw of the evening. Dawson does a great job of adjusting to the ball. Paul gives him a chance, and the toughness there of Paul Hall getting hit by 2 guys on the blitz and the completion at the end.
So unfortunately, one of the Mustangs is down. A timeout on the field, 8:06 to play, and a huge completion for a first down for the Horned Frogs when we come back. And when we come back, Kevin Frazier and Marcus Allen will get us ready for the halftime report right after these messages.
Kevin Frazier, Marcus Allen in the Fox College Football Studio. And coming up at the half, Marcus will tell us just how good Florida State is.
I think they're as good as advertised. We're going to put them to the eye test.
Oh, the eye test never fails, does it? E.J. Manuel and crew back in the national championship mix. We'll have that, plus the performance of the day by Geno Smith. It's all coming up to the break. But right now, let's get back to Joel.
Thank you, Kevin. We will look forward to it. Unfortunately for June Jones and his defensive unit, Ryan Smith, his starting strong safety, went down without contact, and it doesn't look good.
No, because it was non-contact, and it's one of those injuries when you watch it, you're thinking the worst, like I think he tore the Achilles.
Don't say that.
Yeah, well, I'm not predicting anything, but
Good.
it's.
So now TCU puts it back into play after the long completion to Sky Dawson on first down at the 39 of SMU. Tucker slowed down. Got a good play coming up out of the secondary as Parks finished it off. Scott was the early one, though, as we head downstairs with Jim Knox. Jim?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but it looks like Brian could be right. They didn't even go to the bench. They brought him right to the locker room. He is definitely out for the rest of the game, and he was in a great deal of pain, guys. Brian Smith.
All right, thank you, Jim. He's a senior from Houston and a 3-year starter for June Jones. Here comes heat, and there goes Paul Hall. Marcus Hunt off the edge to the defensive end. The Estonian, who was honorable mention All-Conference USA the last couple of years.
Well, he does a good job of just coming around the corner, and he beats the freshman, Avion Collins there, and gets the pressure to the backside. So for the first time today, the defensive line of SMU rises up and again puts TCU in a 3rd and long situation. And they've got back into this game because defensively they played real well here in the 2nd quarter.
Yeah, good call. They have picked it up.
Just a 3-man rush to see if they blitz here on the play. Yep, bring 2.
Ball with time and a drop. It was available again for Josh Boyce.
You know what he's guilty of doing there, Joe? Jumping. There's no reason to jump for that ball. It takes your concentration off. Watch this jump at the end of this play. The ball is well thrown. When he jumps, the ball ends up coming all the way to his body. It bounces off his shoulder pad. And Powell knows. He knows that that's a key 3rd down. And that should have been completed. They can't hang on to the ball.
Well, let's see what Perry can do with it. Another true freshman for the Horned Frogs. And can he put it out of bounds or get it to die inside the 10? End over ender. And out of bounds outside of the 15. So he went for the corner. Didn't get it deep enough, but still. They'll put it right outside of the 15-yard line for SMU. So SMU all of a sudden a shift in the momentum. And the Mustangs have it. When we return with 6:37 left in the half.
Coors Light says don't get flagged for breaking the law. It's a cold, hard fact. 21 means 21. So keep yourself and your friends in the game.
It is still coming down in buckets, but the spirit still lives on the campus of SMU.
They getting ready for Halloween early? Yeah, they've been trying to protect it as long as they can. And that last drive, Gilbert really performed pretty well. 4 or 5 on that last drive. Took care of the ball, threw it well. Got SMU back on the board.
Here's an 86-yard touchdown drive. So dominated in the first 15 minutes of play. Let's see now if they can pick it up. And he's going for the bundle on the sideline. And incomplete going for Keenan Holman. So good coverage by Kevin White, the sophomore from Round Rock.
I tell you, Garrett Gilbert aired that out too. He overthrew him, but the ball was in the air almost 60 yards. Really didn't step into it. It kind of shows you the strength of his arm. It's the first time today that they've actually taken a deep shot. Last year they stung TCU 2 or 3 times with deep balls like that.
And they led 17-0 early. Then with only 14 minutes left, they were up 33-17 before TCU forced overtime. It's empty on 2nd and 10. They didn't pick up the rush off the edge. No flag. He wanted one. Holman was the intended target. Well, Holman, he had to get rid of it.
He had to get rid of it, but Holman was running run route and Gilbert was throwing another route. And really SMU, they don't do a lot. Their route combinations are fairly simple, but they just execute them really well.
What about hot reads on a play like that?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Holman's got to be looking for it. He's got to see what the quarterback is seeing.
Zach Line coming back into the game for the extra wide receiver Lofton, and that's for blocking purposes because they had a clear path to the quarterback.
TCU just going to rush 4 on this play.
Gilbert's got to get rid of it, and he does, but well overthrown for Jeremy Johnson.
I think
they're getting a little chippy now.
Yeah, well, they're going after him, and he wants some late hits here. So as he released that ball, he got sandwiched. Yeah, right from the back, I think by Mapunga hit him in the back late, and I think Garrett Gilbert's got a pretty good case. It's a late kidney shot after he threw it, but that was a horrible 3-play series by SMU, in part because of the pressure by TCU.
So Loftus with the wind at his back and off the side of his foot. That was a bad-looking duck on a rainy night, and a short field coming up as TCU is going to have it at the SMU 46-yard line. Well, tomorrow it's Fox NFL Sunday, a twin bill for you. It all starts with the 49ers heading to New York, taking on the Jets. Then in America's game of the week, the Saints look for the first win of the season. Boy, try to do it against the Packers after what happened to the Packers on Monday night. Dual possession? Can you say dual possession? It all begins tomorrow. Fox NFL Sunday pregame show. Noon Eastern, 9 out on the West Coast.
Well, just think about that Saints-Packers game. You know, could the Saints start 0-4 or the Packers start 1-3? Good defensive play that time. Good pressure.
Good penetration.
Yeah, Jagarrett Davis here.
So, Jagarrett Davis, the weak side backer, senior. Crockett, Texas. He led SMU in tackles behind the line just like this last year.
That's just speed coming off the corner and anticipating that play. Good instincts. I talked to him in the equipment room before the game. He was just he was getting the face mask taken off, the glass shield taken off before the game, and he was ready to play.
Second, close to 12. Only a 3-man rush. And the completion close to a first down for Josh Boyce.
Well, Boyce just set a TCU touchdown scoring record for receivers. He broke Mike Renfro's record last week, catching his 18th touchdown. He was just coming inside, actually pretty good coverage by Acker.
Houston Oilers.
Yeah.
Mike Renfro.
And a Dallas Cowboy.
Yes.
Teammates of Fro Daddy, as we used to call him, back in the mid-'80s. What a gutty, tough kid he is.
Saw his picture on the wall yesterday at TCU.
Sure.
Only need a yard and a half. Man, they're pushing the pile. Where will they spy? After what we saw, it'll be a first down. Should be right around the 36. So Tucker just barreled ahead. Let's see if they give it to him.
It may be worth a measurement.
And it will be. They'll stop the clock with 4:52 to play in the half. Remember, SMU already has 7 on the board. Over the first 3 games of the year, TCU has given up only 1 touchdown and an average of 4 points a contest.
Coming in today.
Right.
So the second touchdown that they've given up today by Zach Line, and that's the first down. By 1 chain link.
It's been tough for Tucker, but he's held on to the football. We've seen so many drops. Let's see if there's adjustments by the receivers as well, with maybe equipment in the second half.
Well, Tucker, you know, with the 1 touchdown, the receiving touchdown, just a sprint right option. Tough yards, tough to come by inside today. SMU playing them tough.
Boykin's in there, the Wildcat quarterback.
Yep.
Trayvon Boykin.
Think run first.
Low snap, and the bubbles screen. And breaking out of the initial tackle, but Darius Brown just to work hard for maybe a loss of a yard or 2 and a flag at the very end of the play.
Personal foul against the Horned Frogs.
Can't stand Prosperity with the good field position to start the drive, so they'll mark it off on the dead ball foul as we check in with Jim Knox. Jim.
All right, Joe, one of the great things they're doing here on the sidelines, the ball boys are putting the football in a hoodie. They're taking it and putting it under their jacket, keeping it nice and wet-free, I guess you can say right now. But something they're guarding against, keep in mind, a waterlogged football. They don't want in the second half these balls being like you're throwing a 5-pound weight. So they're guarding against that. They're doing a pretty good job right now, Joe.
Thank you, Jim. They're more used to it. TCU, at the end of practice, they keep them in water, and they work with wet footballs at the end of practice every Thursday.
Is wet free, light dry?
What a grab if he came up with it. It is incomplete, but a diving attempt by Sky Dawson.
This is a fast receiving corps, a young receiving corps with a lot of speed. And on that one, Dawson really laid out for it. This ball's thrown right down the hash. No way to lay out for it. He's got a cast on that right hand, and I think he just couldn't really grip it, pull it all the way in. But good coverage on the play as well.
That last penalty made it 9 penalties for 90 yards against TCU, and Gary Patterson had mentioned to us they have left a lot of points on the field the last 2 games.
Well, that's hitting yardage. This time they go empty, 5 receivers.
3rd and forever. A little middle screen won't get much for Brandon Carter. He took a shot.
Taylor Reed now. This is the emotion of the game. This is what a rivalry is about. That kind of hit by Taylor Reed. They are playing a great and spirited second quarter, and they are keeping this game close, and that's what you're looking for. This kind of hit, this kind of spirit, this type of intensity. Reed this play well. Nice job doubling back. Look at that. And Reed just taking Carter right off his feet, and then a few words to talk to him about. So excellent job by the defense after good field position for the Horned Frogs.
On the punt, out of bounds, just about the 20-yard line. Time for a Mazda game break as we check in now with Kevin Frazier. Kevin.
Joel, a pair of surprises. Let's start with the Towson Tigers. Yes, the Towson Tigers leading number 3 LSU 9-7 because they couldn't convert on an extra point. But this one, a shocker. This team picked to win the Colonial, and can they win against the LSU Tigers? Meanwhile, South Carolina with their hands full back in Commonwealth Stadium, a place they lost 2 years ago to Kentucky too, and they're trailing now 17-7. Joel?
All right.
It would be shockers, wouldn't they?
Well,
both cases.
And both are in the first half.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin.
But I didn't know anybody could run for a touchdown against LSU with that defensive front and the depth that they have.
Boy, Zach Line never quits. As he gets maybe 2, close to 3, but boy, what a motor.
Well, I think, he's still thinking early on that he had fumbled early when the ball got kicked out of his hands. I think that's still weighing on him. He's looking to see what he can do to, overturn that wrong.
Rain is still pounding. Fans here at Gerald Ford Stadium on the campus of SMU. Ton of time for Gilbert. And another drop, this time by Derek Thompson. So again, Garrett Gilbert let down. He had some poor throws early, but he's had a lot of drops lately.
He has, and he got good protection that time. And at work is the senior right tackle, Brian Collins, doing a good job on Mapunga that time. Just riding around the corner and staying on his feet, being athletic and letting Gilbert step up into the pocket. Pretty good battle going on.
TCU's offense just wasted a great opportunity. Starting at the SMU 46, now for the defense. Give them the ball right back in good field position. Pocket holds up well again for Gilbert. And a poor throw. It's dropped just the same. Johnson could have caught it, but he was looking outside. It came inside, and Jason Verrett was also involved in the package.
Jordan Free, the left guard, down for SMU, and he's pounding the turf. Lyman hates staying down. Usually it's got to be something pretty serious for those guys not to get back up. A couple seniors up front. Jordan Free at the left guard spot. Brian Collins at the right tackle. Blake McJunk in the right guard.
Friendly fire.
Yeah. Oh, right. The left ankle rolled over. That brought him down. Their
teammate.
Yeah. Taking off the left shoe right now.
It looked like the center stepped on him.
Yeah.
Lasecki.
That's all it was. Yeah, just rolled it. Hopefully, maybe he protected it in time. Taped that thing up and try to get him back out there. Good seeing him walk off under his own power.
Yeah, it's an inexperienced offensive line to begin with. Last year, they had an offensive line with a combined 221 starts.
Yep.
This year, totally different story coming into the season with 36 career combined starts.
I have a feeling he'll be back out there pretty soon. I think they'll go over there and wrap that thing up a little tighter. He doesn't want to miss this game. They think about this game all season long, all off season. Part of your motivation when you're in two-a-days and off season, thinking about this game.
So after 3 snaps and a punt, Dawson waits. Downwind, a good punt. Dawson making the first man miss. Good field position, and there he goes across the midfield stripe. One man, and it's the punter. Zach Line gets him 2. Inside the 10, saves the touchdown. And he's down at the 4.
This is June Jones' biggest nightmare, was special teams and trying to limit TCU in that department. And for the second time today, they're going to start their own possession deep into SMU territory. Once off an interception, and this Sky Dawson punt return is classic cases. Did he outkick the coverage? Well, he only had one guy to beat, and then down the sideline picking up a convoy. And great hustle by Zach Line to save that touchdown.
Followed a 64-yard return. Anderson with a nice block. Line gets him at the 4. Tucker trying to find the goal line, and he's in. Points off the big return. And breathing room for the Horned Frogs.
Second touchdown of the day for Tucker. They didn't waste any time, but set up by the great punt return by Dawson. And that's where TCU can get you. They get you in special teams because of their speed and skilled players. Good job on this side by the good punch by Faboulage, the left tackle. Really walking his man into the end zone.
Oberchrome with the point after. And another short field. We talked about points off the turnovers, and now you talked about hidden yardage. Your special teams producing a touchdown, basically. Give Tucker the last 4 yards, but set up by Dawson.
Yep. Second short field, you know, one off the interception, set up a short field, and then obviously the punt return. And really, you know, it's this 21-7 score is not indicative of how good SMU's defense has played, but hidden yardage, special teams plays, I mean, that's the difference in his game right now.
And he's now 5th all-time in career rushing touchdowns among all Horned Frogs. LT on top at 54, but Tucker now with number 28, tying Jim Swink.
Not bad for a backup, huh? A guy that hasn't been a starter.
Yeah, a power guy, as you said, 6'1", 225. So he's been a red zone guy for them.
Yeah, that's a lot of touchdowns, you know, for a guy that backed up Wayman James and Wesley and some of the other star backs that they've had here over the last couple of years.
Oberchrome will kick it into the wind. Pope and Lofton way back deep. So 2+ to play in the half. If you're SMU, you've got to think about minimizing the damage and at least get to the locker room. But Lofton brings it back from the 2. And he's got a lane down the sideline. There goes Cole Lofton. And tripped up with a flag down at the end of the play as he goes across the 45 and brought down on a big tackle by Jamie Bird. We've had too many flags already in this game.
We've had way too many, and that if this, you know, I mean, this is a great return. It gets SMU right back into a scoring mode before halftime. Yeah.
Interesting. You don't see it often.
No.
Against the team defending the return.
Block below the waist.
Yeah.
Yeah, personal foul. Well, that's exactly what SMU, and now they answer themselves here.
It's 45 yards on the return.
Great return, good blocking, good lane, and they breaks the tackle, sets up one. Oh yeah, that was a low block. I saw it too on the. Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's the emotion what you want in a rivalry. First down, our ball. Let's go do something about it. That's what they're saying there. SMU, no quitting this team right now. First and 10 at the 39.
So another mark-off. That's 105 yards and penalties already in the first half on TCU. Low throw and sliding and can't come up with it. It's Darius Johnson. He lost his footing, then tried to gather it in.
Yeah, but you know, if catching the ball is all about concentration, Joel, you're going to lose your feet, you know, but it's still about looking the ball into your hands. And, you know, you don't practice in these kind of conditions very often, but sometimes you find out just how complete a player is in these kind of conditions, what kind of concentration and hands they have when things aren't perfect around them.
Well, Garrett Gilbert's now 5 for 18. What do you say, about 8 or 9 drops?
Yeah, about at least a half a dozen, Joel.
2nd and 10. Zach Line. He's slowed down and then put down by Devontae Fields, a true freshman from nearby Arlington.
You know, we mentioned that TCU is playing 15 freshmen. You know, it's interesting because Gary Patterson was telling us how young this team is and how they're rebuilding it, and really their best year is 2 years away. But he said that they may consider redshirting. Some of these freshmen are playing this year in later years. I can't imagine being Devontae Fields and having tackle for losses and sacks like he does and then sitting another year.
He also said you don't want 30, 35 seniors.
Well, that's true too.
Time for Gilbert, and it paid off. Completion to Jeremy Johnson. Another first down inside the 20.
Now that's good concentration, Joel, because again, he's sliding to catch the ball, but he's looking it all the way into his hands. And Gilbert here, good protection. Oof, wow, did he take a hit?
Joel Hasley got him late.
Wow.
Big 12 player of the week 2 weeks ago.
I tell you, that shows me something about Garrett Gilbert, the toughness that he does have when he's knocked, 180 degrees the other direction and then completing that pass.
Hung in the pocket a little.
Yeah, he did.
And then on a play fake, gets it back and makes a positive out of a negative. It looked like a loss, and he gets about 3 or 4.
Well, I tell you, he's shown some poise here. I mean, his last 2 plays now, the completion percentage isn't there, Joel. We know that, but here's the ball, okay. Zach Line runs into him. The ball goes past him. He picks it up. He's got the poise to look to the out of bounds and pick up 4, kind of rescue a bad play.
It almost seemed like he wanted to get the play fake done before he had the ball.
Yeah, well, I think he was trying to get an inside handoff to Zach Line. The ball's a little quick getting.
It'll be second and a little less than 8, almost 7. Line. Boy, stop on a dime. He gets it short of the first down to the 12, and then a flag at the end of the play where we're going to have a personal foul.
Well, you can already know.
Devontae Fields was involved, and it was the offensive lineman on that play who may be tagged for it. Yep. The lineman got locked up, and after the play was over, Fields and a late shot from maybe Collins.
Yeah, this is what Zach Line does well. He's just squaring his body. Oh yeah, Collins just coming in. Yeah. You like the aggressiveness of Brian Collins there, coming in, and it's a rivalry game, and getting involved down the field and finishing the play, and it's just a split second late, and it's probably the right call. But you know that Gary Patterson's speech at halftime is about those penalties and how that has to get cleaned up.
Now moves him back. It'll be 3rd and long now instead of 2nd and 2 on the personal foul. SMU with 56 seconds left in the half and all 3 timeouts on the board. And they will talk it over. So time into the field. And coming up at the break, we'll be checking in with Kevin Frazier and Marcus Allen. Geno Smith and 133 points later. And they'll be talking about the effort by Geno Smith today and all the touchdown tosses, all the yard thrown for. And Ohio State in a big game today.
Well, for Geno Smith, I mean, he jumps to the forefront. Everybody was talking this morning about, who's in the Heisman race. It was about this time last year that Robert Griffin started making his move and then just kept getting stronger and stronger. I think Geno Smith, if people didn't know about him before today and what West Virginia can do, there is going to be the talk at the water cooler all week. Gary Patterson giving signals. I like his style. I like his energy. I like his style. I like what he does. June Jones, kind of the opposite approach, very stoic, under control, not very animated. But you can bet that he's got one that's going to the end zone here. He's going to take a shot.
Well, they can get a first down inside the 9, a 1st and goal. On 3rd and long. Extending the pocket, the play, and on a comeback route, short of the first down, it's Keenan Holman by about 3.
And good job by Gilbert of stepping up and clearing the pocket, what you call climb the pocket to find the opening. And they've got a tough decision here, Joel, because it's about 4th and about 2. Here's a nice job, stepping up, keeping eyes down the field, 2 hands on the ball, and then throwing an accurate shot.
Kick a field goal, get some points. Chase Hover comes into the game. The junior from Plano. And it's going to be a 29-yard attempt out of the hold of Nick Soda. So get some points before you go to the locker room. Exchange is clean. It's on its way. And the conversion is good. So Hover with the field goal makes it an 11-point game. You don't want to come away with a short field and no points at all.
Well, it was good. I mean, look, they answered the short field, the punt return by TCU with a great kickoff return. Got a couple penalties to help them out, and you get 3. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably not as good as you'd like, but the game is within reach. And if the defense can continue to play and maybe take it away a couple times in the second half, I know Gary Patterson doesn't feel comfortable or safe right now.
Well, the personal foul on the offensive lineman, it would have been 3rd and 2.
Brian Collins.
And the personal foul. All of a sudden now you're looking at 3rd and 16, 17.
You love that aggressiveness because that's what it's going to take, in the second half, that type of effort and aggressiveness. But you've got to do it, obviously within the confines of the clock, the time. There's a guy down.
Well, I can't remember a game where we've had just constant rain. It hasn't slowed at all.
No.
In fact, it's still coming down with force.
It's like sideways. And it's been like this all day. I lived here for 7 years. I never saw a weekend like this in Dallas.
Making up for lost time.
But, you know, it's look, the crowd is, you know, they got their rain gear on right now. You know, it's a game. We saw a huge comeback last year in Fort Worth in this game by TCU to tie it up to send it to overtime. You know, maybe SMU can make that charge in the second half.
Loftus gets into it. Man. Carter bringing it back. Man, indecision. Carter's got to hang on to the football. He does that. Man, now, can he get a couple of blocks? Yes.
Wow.
Look out. Brandon Carter. Do you believe
Again.
it? He waits for another block.
Flag.
There is a flag. And he's put down across the 40-yard line. I was out of breath watching him.
Well, did he go 150 yards to go 50? He circled back all the way to his goal line. That's the kind of speed.
And that's when you worry about ball security if
Sure.
you're a coach. I mean, as wet as it is.
Out of his end zone, up to the 15. Now the circle back.
All the way at the goal line.
To the goal line. Wow.
63 yards. They pick up the flag. There wasn't one. 63 yards on the return. Paul Hall, plenty of time. And too tall as it falls incomplete. Josh Boyce says he was held, but it was behind too tall as well. And that stops the clock with 17 seconds and 2 timeouts left, don't forget, for TCU.
Sure, plenty of time to at least get in position for a field goal. The wind is coming into the face, the wind and the rain. And a little bit of everything that Mother Nature has into the face of TCU here with 17 ticks left.
Underneath, just trying to get some yards for the place kicker. It falls incomplete, low and away to Sky Dawson.
And I tell you, this SMU defense, as a group, they've tackled well, they've defended well, they've really played very well here. They've given up 2 short field touchdowns. Other than that, they really have contained TCU well.
Well, the first field was only 50 yards. It was fumbled away and they picked it up. And then there was an 8-yard field after the interception.
It's Overcrow, the kicker.
Now,
Overcrow going to be my time.
He's getting ready. And they get him a few extra yards on 3rd down. Paul Hall, he wants 6 and almost intercepted. Put it up into double coverage. Acker almost had it. He is looking downfield for his running back.
With 5 seconds left, you'd think TCU right here, just go for the Hail Mary. We saw a number of those type plays in the NFL last week.
But Oberkrom hit a 60-yarder last year in high school.
Okay.
Now he's working, as you said, into rain, into wind. And last week he hit 46 and 47 yarders. There's the running back Tucker, who was the intended target.
Yeah, no, that's not a good look
but
for TCU, who's had injuries to tailbacks.
Last year for Arlington's Martin High School, Oberkrom hit a 60-yarder.
Well, he has blocked 16 kicks in college football.
Second most in NCAA history.
Yeah. And so when you kick one from this type of distance, it's usually a low trajectory. And a guy like Marcus Hunt has got to be, you have to consider that in his ability, his penchant to be able to block kicks. he's like
guy.
a head tall.
He stands out.
He does, doesn't he?
He's 6'8".
6'8". And long arms. He was a shot putter and discus thrower at SMU. And they canceled the program. And he's walking around campus a foot taller than everybody. And they're like, what about football? And he goes, what about it?
Well, he had never put pads on before.
No. But he's really, he's going to be an NFL prospect now because physically he's extremely gifted.
The only one ahead of him, James Farabee, a New Mexico Lobo. He had 19 blocks between 78 and 81. So, does Hunt get involved? It'll be a 54-yard attempt into the wind. Final play of the half on its way. Will it get there? No. And it's going to be brought back out. Smart play. It's Acker. And can he make something of it? Block in the back. They don't throw the flag, though. And now about 2 or 3 flags.
A lot of long term. They made up for it.
So it was on line, but short by about 4 or 5 yards on the 54-yard attempt. So they'll sort things out because there are a number of penalty flags down. And unfortunately, the microphone is out. Personal foul, they say. One down, one snap.
One snap.
Well, I saw it back on return. That wasn't the call.
No.
It's a personal foul against TCU. And now TCU has 120 yards of penalties.
And so SMU is in a position where they can try a field goal.
Well, they're
here.
down, and they're downwind.
Yeah, they got the wind behind them. And look at this field position.
Now, Hover, not known for the strength of his range.
Now, he's got a big tailwind, though, Joel. That's right at his back, which could certainly help the distance.
That's going to be a 54-yard attempt. The same that Oberkrom just came up short on. But what a boost if they can get it going into the locker room. So one snap and then halftime. It has been a long first half, but you can understand why.
Yeah.
The conditions have really predicated the way they've played this first half.
What a boost this would be to the Mustangs here to go into halftime if they could get this field goal.
Don't forget Kevin Frazier and Marcus Allen coming up at the half. And a couple of shockers potentially that Kevin was just filling us in on. And then the big story of Geno Smith in West Virginia today up against Baylor. But Hover is going to have an opportunity, believe it or not. We thought the penalty could have gone either way, and in fact thought maybe they'd throw it both ways.
Well, I was watching Chase before the game. He was hitting from this distance in pregame warmups.
So now with the wind at his back, a 54-yard attempt. He just hit from 29 yards out. Just a slight difference. And it's on its way. Not close. So they will go to the locker room in an 11-point deficit in this edition of the Iron Skillet game. It's a 21-10 lead for TCU, looking for their 12th consecutive victory, owning the nation's longest winning streak. And still, some words of advice from their head coach before they get to the locker room.
The pep talk before the pep talk. Gary Patterson's not happy. He's not happy with the penalties. He's not happy with the fact that they weren't able to put this team away. He's letting them know how important getting to 4-0 is at this point of the season. Gary Patterson giving it to the referee.
A lot of drops by both sides, but too many penalties for TCU. Let's go to Jim Knox. Jim.
All right, thanks, Joel. Coach, no doubt about it. Sloppy play on both sides of the sidelines here. Upset right there at the officials. What was going on?
Well, no, we shouldn't have been running with our helmet off. If they had a block in the back, but it doesn't make any difference. The key to this is, the training. Everybody understands everything that's going on. We got to get ready to play it. We knew coming into this game, whoever's had the wins had the advantage. So when we got the ball, they'll take the win coming out. Got to be able to move. We got to be able to score.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it. Halftime in Dallas. TCU leading SMU 21-10. Right now, let's head to Los Angeles for our college football halftime show with Kevin Frazier and Marcus Allen.
We welcome you back to the campus of SMU, and if you're a mud runner, it is your kind of night as we continue at halftime between two old rivals, the Mustangs and the Horned Frogs. And welcome back once again. Joel Myers alongside Brian Baldinger, and turnovers the difference in this game. 14 of the 21 points for TCU off SMU turnovers.
And the weather's the story here, and just hanging on to the football, and it was sloppy. It was a sloppy first quarter. It starts with a rare fumble by Zach Line, recovered by TCU, gave him a short field, and a great throw here to Ladarius Brown for the first touchdown. And then on the very next series, Garrett Gilbert threw a pick to Olabode, set up a short field. TCU would counter with a Matthew Tucker touchdown, 3-yard throw, but Zach Line came right back to the 21-yard rambling, gambling run into the end zone to cut it to 14-7, and then Tucker on a short field off special teams play jumped out to a 21-7 lead. SMU would catch a field goal, make it 21-10. You can see that, you know, both teams have done a good job defensively. Only 130 yards for SMU, 129 for TCU. It's the difference in the game. The 2 turnovers by SMU have led to 14 of their 21 points.
Well, SMU had the ball first to start the game after TCU won the opening toss. And you can see the rain is just coming down in buckets. It is still pounding those that are still around. It's a family and friends kind of turnout tonight. And usually it's packed. And it was sold out for this game. Yeah, this is a beautiful ballpark. Classic ballpark on campus. And TCU has done a phenomenal job. Wait till you see next week, because we're going to have it on Fox. Amon Carter Stadium, 45,000 seats, and it is magnificent on the Fort Worth campus. Kick is a good one. Downwind and a touchback. Sky Dawson as we check in once again with Jim Knox. Jim.
All right, Joel, just got through talking to June Jones, SMU head coach. He said he just wasn't happy with the drops in the first half, understandably so. You know, it's raining cats and dogs right here. He says in the second half they got to stay disciplined. He knows TCU is not a disciplined team, he said. They received over 120 yards of penalties in the first half. He says their team has to stay disciplined and find a way to get in the end zone, hold on to the football.
All right, thank you, Jim.
I mean, the other thing that June Jones has to tell their guys is, look, you know, you get a turnover, takeaway in this part of the field. Give us a short field. Let's cut this lead down here a little bit. Let's really make this a game. Let's really get right back into it. One play away from being right there.
Dean, the senior running back out of Katy, Texas, a transfer from UCLA, with the carry. And as you look at the possession, remember, usually you'll have maybe 4, 5, 6 at the most possessions in a half. Look at all those possessions.
9 possessions. You can see, you know, back-to-back touchdowns, and they were both off of turnovers. 14 points off the 2 early turnovers, and then look at that last touchdown was a 4-yard drive off a great special team run back. So really, SMU, I mean, I think defensively they got to feel pretty good about how they've defended the nation's passing efficiency leader, Casey Paul Hall.
From the 27 on 2nd and 8. Dean stays in there, and he goes absolutely nowhere, trying to weave his way over to the left side, dropped by Garrett Davis.
Well, remember, we saw Matthew Tucker at the end of that first half, and he was limping.
Right.
You know, and so you look at the running back position, Andre Dean getting a carry, and you can see that Tucker's slow to get out to the field, just coming out now.
You think they retaped him?
I would think so, yeah. I'm sure he wants to give it a go, but it doesn't look like it's great urgency on his part to get out there right now.
True freshman Catalan's taking over now in the backfield on 3rd and long.
Remember, you know, Gary Patterson told us the only guy he really trusts to run the ball right now is Matthew Tucker, the senior.
Pahal out of the gun, empty. Corner blitz and a drop. Catalan, and he was available. Couldn't bring it in, though.
And that was the right read, because SMU blitzed on the play. They sent Chris Parks a safety corner blitz, and it kind of freed open a little dead spot in the zone, and Paul Hall put it right there. And I don't know how many drops they have of his throws tonight, but that's exactly what SMU needed.
Ethan Berry with a 49-yard average coming in is going to punt it away. Acker waits, and into the wind. He hangs it up there from the 29. Good spin for an extra 4 or 5. And Acker gives SMU the first possession of the second half in really good field position at the 37. So another drop, and that was the story of the first half. And the frustration continues for TCU as well as SMU in really tough conditions. Our brown hands that are great hands of the game, well, not so great hands. And that's due to the wet conditions.
Well, who can concentrate here in the second half? Who can look it into their hands? You know, block out the conditions right now. That's good defense in that play. Way to lay out. That's a pure drop from that one by Darius Johnson. B.J. Catalan, the freshman, dropping one on that 3rd down.
So you think it's easy to catch a wet pig?
I don't know about a wet pig.
Well, that's the point.
Well, it's not. No, but I mean,
How do you surround it?
We're just talking about a piece of pig skin, Joel. It's
Yeah, but
different than
it's still
getting a hog.
slippery.
I remember when on 4th of July, when I was a kid, playing water polo with a greased watermelon. You know, like trying to get that watermelon and sail it through the coal. I mean, that's what it looks like. It looks like it's got Vaseline all over it.
Finding way too much out of a different childhood. First down from the 37.
It was fun back then.
Underneath's available, and it's complete to Johnson. For about 6, maybe 7 at the most, brought down by Hasley. We have not called Joel Hasley all that much, although he did have a huge shot on the quarterback after Gilbert got rid of it in the first half.
Yeah, he is their leading tackler and their middle linebacker.
He's a former Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week 2 weeks ago. Kane was last week, so their backers show up.
They sent some linebackers to the NFL. That Darrell Washington in Arizona, what a year he's had.
Zach Klein won't go anywhere. He ran up the back of a blocker, and that was it. And then Mapunga put him down.
Mapunga right at the bottom, along with the freshman Fields, stacking it up.
Did you like playing in this weather?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I liked inclement weather. It just added another element to it. You just block, you know, you learn how to just block it out, Joe. I don't care if it's extreme cold or if it's snow, in the mud. You kind of just block it out. You just think about your assignment, what you have to do. You adjust your steps, you know, to keep your footing.
3rd and about 5. Pick up the extra rusher. Damn. It's incomplete. Coming over the back. Olabode, who's already got a pick, a junior from Cedar Hill, Texas. He tried to put it in a real small window.
Yeah, I think he has a chance to be pretty special, Olabode, because that ball wasn't poorly thrown by Gilbert. I mean, this guy's had turnovers or takeaways in 4 straight games now. A really good job of really coming to the side over the top of the receiver without interfering with him.
Well timed. 3 minutes into the second half. Almost given away by the punter. And now sky high for Sky Dawson, but it doesn't go very far. So a break for SMU.
Well, what happened?
Well, they blocked the Horn Frog into the ball. It'll be TCU's ball at the 18. That's a low play.
Yeah, they're laughing down
Hold us to
there. We've
the
seen that one.
It's a timeout. TCU's going to have it for the second time in the second half when we come back. Fox College football presented by Frostbrewed Coors Light, the game's most refreshing beer. And by Mazda, we believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. Doak Walker, the Heisman Trophy of 1948. Great history.
Great history.
Dallas.
Both schools.
Yes. We talked earlier about Davey O'Brien, Sammy Baugh, the Horned Frogs.
Bob Lilly, the first pick of the Dallas Cowboys.
Wearing number 72 as a Horned Frog. It's at the 19. They're going to put it back into play on the second possession of the second half for TCU. And Matthew Tucker, obviously a good tape job by the training staff. Gets about 4 out to the 23, brought down by Taylor Reed. Oh, we mentioned the SMU defense has given up plenty of points and yards. In fact, yards, total defense worst in the country at 561.
Yep. And it's not like that tonight. I mean, they're putting it all together. And, you know, Gary Patterson said, look, this is SMU's, this is their biggest game of the year. They play harder in this game than they do in any other game. We've seen it the last couple of seasons when we played them.
But how much have the conditions helped them?
Well, that's helped.
Tucker.
But, I mean, that's just a good play by Pittman in whatever kind of conditions. Just playing off the center fry and taking Tucker down in the hole.
Nose tackle out of Bryan. They're tough out of Bryan, Texas.
Aren't they, though?
Always.
Texas tough, yeah.
I've been to Bryan.
Right there.
Just outside of College Station. He was honorable mention All-Conference USA last season for SMU.
Tucker doesn't look like he's close to 100%. He's still kind of dragging that leg.
And when he got the handoff, it was out of rhythm, too.
Yeah.
Took it high and it kind of bobbled.
Not exploding into the hole.
So can they convert and make it 5 for 12? Quarterback call all the way, and Pahal will get it. So he's not the other quarterback that we saw that they use in the Wildcat, but he got out of the backfield okay.
Well, it was a good read by Pahal, because what he's going to see is there's just 4 guys from SMU up front. Everybody is out defending the perimeter wide receivers, and he saw an opening, and he just took that off. I mean, that's just a quarterback draw, and it's based on what he's looking at. He gets up.
Yeah, he comes up with a bad wheel. Trayvon Boykin, and that's the young man I was talking about, their Wildcat quarterback, and he's got real hot wheels.
Yeah, and he's got size, too. He's 6'2", 215, so he can deliver some punishment.
He'll be throwing this time. Carrying it out and available. It's late. Is there a flag? There should be. He wanted Ladarius Brown. Randolph, who's in there due to an injury.
Yeah, he's in for Ryan Smith right now. He lost the ball. You see, like, he's got his back to it right now, and that's just an inexperienced
Pass
play.
interference. Defense, number 28. The penalty would be 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
I mean, you just can't run into the receiver like that. He lost the ball, and then he panicked. And so he went and hunted him up, and he ran right into him while the ball's in the air. It's the right call.
He is a true freshman out of Waco.
TCU in SMU territory at the 47.
First down for the 47. Boykin stays in there. And he bobbled it on a hot snap as he's dropped immediately by Stephon Sanders. But let's go back to that quarterback run and the potential injury that put him on the sideline. Paul.
Yeah, the third down run, 3rd and 5. Here's the end of the play. Yeah, that left ankle caught underneath and rolled. He got up hobbling. He's already had his left finger, one of the fingers on his left hand taped up. Got the gloves on to protect in the monsoon conditions here.
Catalan has taken over in the backfield. He's the quick back, not the power back like Tucker. And they stack him up right at the 45. Paul coming off of back-to-back 300-yard passing games against Kansas and Virginia. And believe it or not, in the long history of TCU football, they have never had a quarterback throw for 300 in 3 consecutive games.
Yeah,
hard to believe.
Well, you think about, you going back to Sammy Baugh, and they didn't throw the ball like that. But Andy Dalton, in those 4 years of starting here, he never did that.
So now 3rd and long. It'll be 3rd and 8 from the 45.
Is this going to be a blitz coming in here, or are they going to come out and show blitz and then bounce back outside?
Over the middle, it's complete. And a first down to the 20 on Josh Boyce's reception.
Well, that's a big-time throw by Pahal. Now that's a pressure throw. That's in the conditions here. Good protection. He cuts this ball loose right into the dead spot in that zone. SMU plays kind of like a 3-5-3 zone, so it's 3 deep. And there's one little spot there right in front of the free safety, and that's exactly where Boyce got to.
Boy, and he slowed down in a hurry. He dropped in that area you're talking about for a 25-yard gain. Huge. Inside of 8 to play in the 3rd. Being the motion man, also the running back. And tries to slug it ahead. Inside the 18, give him 3 to the 17, dropped by Joyner.
Well, TCU is one of those teams, they've actually run the ball a lot more than they've thrown it this year. They pride themselves on balance, but there's not a lot of lanes in there now. I mean, there's not a lot of yards after contact. SMU has stacked it up pretty good all night.
Neither team moved the ball at all in the first half. You saw the numbers, 130 to 129 net yards offensively. Especially when you got a defense as good as Gary Patterson's defense. You don't want to get it. 2nd and long. Paul took a shot just before he hit the 15. Taylor Reed laid it on him.
That's a different play. That's a motion to a bubble screen here. Watch, there's a motion out here, and he decides not to throw because SMU jumped him. And then he's standing there, and there's the punishment. And that Taylor Reed and Jagara Davis, These linebackers have played really well. Randall Joyner today for Cameron Rogers. Sanders, those 4 linebackers have been active. There's Reed, the senior.
Second team All-Conference USA last season.
He's got the shield on there. I mean, they had those all taken off. I think he said, you know what? I'll take the raindrops. I just don't want the rain in my eyes.
3rd and 5. Pocket holds up, and a bullet is complete to Boyce for 1st and goal to the 8. Boy, it had to be a dart.
It was a dart, and it's another clutch 3rd down throw for Paul Hall. And that was good coverage. I don't know how he got that ball in. Yeah, I mean, Garrett Davis was right on him. I mean, I think he had the better shot at catching the ball. He missed it, and a good concentration by Boyce to haul it in.
It looked like it was there to be punched away. So now it's 1st and goal at the 9.
I like cheerleaders that have numbers. Easy to spot them.
Dean on the spin. There's something seriously wrong here. Down to the 6.
You need a flip card when the cheerleaders have numbers like that. Andre Dean. They have bounced it up. What they've been doing here is running it on 1st and 2nd down. And on 3rd down, they put it in Paul Hall's hands to make the decision, either the clutch throw or the run. This is their best drive of the evening.
Drive started back to TCU 19. Remember that run. Paul Hall's like a good fighter. He looks like is he going to get back into the corner, into the huddle, and then he comes back out like he's fresh again.
Bounces back quick.
On the slant, deflected and almost intercepted. Boyce had to go off his fingertips, and it was Shaquille Randolph who had a pop at it.
And he's upset with himself because those are the type of tip balls that you got to come down with. Now he's a true freshman. This ball is deflected.
That saved 7 or 3 though.
Oh yeah, that went right through his. That might be the worst drop of the night for SMU. Of all the drops, that one might be the most costly. That's a good play on the outside by Kenneth Acker. To get that hand inside and pop that ball up.
I actually agree.
About time. He'll come around.
3rd and goal from the 6. Dean stays in the backfield. Good pocket protection. Middle's available, and another drop, this time by Brandon Carter. Acker defending, but it was there for Brandon Carter. Now, was it a little bit behind him?
Well, I think that TCU may spend a little more time, throwing those wet footballs down in Fort Worth, because that ball was right where it's supposed to be.
Hit him in the head.
High. Brandon Carter doesn't drop balls like this. That ball that is a great throw. Hit him right in the face mask.
Right in the head.
Yep.
Oberkrom in for the field goal attempt. It'll be a 23-yard attempt. Trying to put TCU up by 14. And a bobbled snap by the holder, and that'll do it.
Yep.
Cale Patterson, the senior holder, couldn't hang on. We've talked about handling the wet football.
And that just, killed the best drive of the night for TCU. There it is.
It's been a story of mistakes, and it continues for the Horned Frogs as they're only up by 11.
Veteran makes an emotional return.
Every day of his life, he gives everything for the club. Make sure we get the one for him as well.
Catch an all-new Being Liverpool, presented by Chevrolet. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 Pacific. Encore tomorrow night at 9.
Welcome back on the campus of SMU. This is the definition of loyalty.
Yes, it is.
While we were away, they were just singing the fight song. And they were diligent about it. They were very serious
in
the
very
lyrics.
Passionate,
yes.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, that's a different look, right? I mean, the headband is, you got to keep it, you got to keep the face dry.
He's a warrior. He's ready.
Yes, he is. He's ready for this SMU drive after the botched hold on the field goal attempt by TCU.
So after 75 yards, TCU doesn't get a single point. Garrett Gilbert, middle of the field's free, and overshoots his wide receiver, Darius Johnson.
Get that man a towel and dry off the hand, because that ball just sailed right out of his hands. And he had an open receiver.
Well, he had Johnson underneath, he had Thompson downfield, and landed between the two.
And the protection, I just watching TCU, the defensive line of TCU, I mean, they just didn't rush. Now, whether they're tired, gassed at this point, tired of getting after him, they really didn't get off the line of scrimmage very good that time. This group has played a lot. Devontae Fields and Maponga.
2nd and 10. Pocket protections there again. And a good route. And a drop again by Johnson. Can't throw it any better, can you?
Nope. Got a flag at the
late hit.
Yep.
The penalty will be 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
There it is, Maponga. Remember, we saw that before.
And he got away with
it. Yeah, and that's the second time it's been a late hit by Maponga into the back, and Gary Patterson's going to have a few words with him.
Yeah, he's coming over for a reason.
He's got to, though. I mean, you got to talk to him. You know, because they didn't flag the first one. They got this one, and it gives SMU a free first down. And
well, they've got 135 yards at Marcos.
Well, he's got good points here. I mean, there's a time when you just got to lay off the quarterback.
First down from the 35. Line made a miss in the backfield. Flag on a hold. It's coming back. As he turned the corner and he got there, didn't need the hold. He made McFarland miss in the backfield.
During the run, hold the number 67 of the offense. The penalty will be 10. Second down.
It's on Brian Collins, the senior right tackle, who's had a pretty good game today.
He cost them in the red zone, though, inside the 10.
He had the late hit coming across middle, but he's working against a good player, Maponga, and protecting, just pass protection-wise, he's really held his own. And he hasn't gotten in this June Jones offense now. Tackles don't get help against defensive ends. You're out there on an island each and every play.
So instead of about 10 yards on the carry, it's going to be first at 18-19. Gilbert had to throw it away. That time there was heat on the outside from Devontae Fields. It's time now for Mazda Game Break as we check in once again with Kevin Frazier. Kevin?
Joel, Nebraska taking on Wisconsin. Check out the uniforms. Yes, that's the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Taylor Martinez to Rex Burkhead, just his second catch of the season. Nebraska fighting their way back into this contest. But, guys, I really have an issue with those uniforms.
We don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
At all.
That's breaking tradition.
Man.
Some scene in Lincoln.
Well, Wisconsin's had their issues, and now trying to pull off an upset on the road in Lincoln. Thank you, Kevin. It'll be 2nd and 18, 19 yards. Finds some time, and into double coverage, it's intercepted. He threw it up for grabs, and it's picked off by Chris Hackett.
Chris Hackett, who got the start today in front of Jonathan Anderson because of his performance last week against Virginia, is in the right place, but this ball was really poorly thrown by Garrett Gilbert. You can't put that on the rain or the conditions or anything else. You got good vision right here.
So Gilbert picked off for the second time this evening, gives it back to the Horned Frogs.
Some people say, do one thing and do it well.
The perfect weather conditions continue in Dallas, and welcome back once again to the campus of SMU. It has been pounding rain all night. These are loyal Mustang and Horned Frog fans here tonight. Give them credit. Players, you know the story, the turnovers have cost. 14 of the 21 off of turnovers for TCU, and they're trying to do it again. Tucker takes it just for 2, maybe 3 on the first down carry.
And, you know, June Jones talked to us, at length this week, and he said, look, if we're going to upset TCU and we're going to knock them off of, the unbeaten ranks, we've got to win the turnover battle. That's the number one thing we had to do. We couldn't be -2, -1. We had to be a +2 to have a chance. And we have to limit special team plays, and they haven't done that either. That being said, it's still just an 11-point deficit. So, I mean, if they make a stop here, they're still just one play from getting back into this game.
Slide the tight end. Griffin Gilbert, younger brother of Garrett. Tucker again. Just slides up ahead across the 50 to the 49 as we head down to Jim Knox. Jim.
Joel, it's going to be interesting to see if Matthew Tucker can finish this game. The word from the bench is a slightly sprained ankle. They retaped it during that last series. He's still out there, but as that game continues to go out on that sloppy turf, he's in a great deal of pain. We'll see if he can finish up. A big key right there in the TCU running game.
Absolutely. He is taking over as their #1 back due to the injury to Wayman James, who was lost in the first game of the year for the entire season. Now they need 4 on 3rd down. It'll be Tucker in the flat, going the other way instead. And it's complete for the 1st down. First catch of the night for Cam White.
Is it a catch, though? Looks like that ball is coming back. I don't know if, yeah.
It looked like he cradled it, and you're right. It's down and out. It'll be a punt. Paul looked maybe in disbelief because he stood there like it was a catch.
Oh, man. Just a drop.
Yeah, went right through.
I tell you, Paul Hall is taking a beating, and this kid is showing me a lot. He's been knocked down, injured, knocked to the sidelines, taped fingers, taped legs. He threw a perfect throw.
Hacker waits for the punt. Got a good one for the Horned Frogs. It'll be inside the 15. So TCU after the pick by Chris Hackett, they cannot capitalize. Take advantage of a short field, give it right back to the Mustangs, and it still stays an 11-point game. Well, this college football season, Fox Sports is proud to partner with the Prostate Cancer Foundation, the world's largest supporter of prostate cancer research. 1 in 6 American men are going to be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. To learn more, please visit www.pcf.org/Fox Sports.
I think it's time to, just give this ball to Zach Lyons, see what he can do. I mean, Gilbert has shown great inconsistency. The drops, I think you could still have time to get this running game working. Down just 2 scores.
Gilbert 10 of 24, 2 picks, ton of time. You wanted Zach Lyons to get a touch. He's got it in the flat. And a little stiff arm gets him extra yardage. Good job pushing down Sam Carter.
Yeah, that's, he's got that skill. He's got violent yardage with the stiff arm. You should always have him in flare control when you drop back and use him as a safety valve. Him in the open space, he makes as many people miss in this offense as any of the other players. He's good after contact.
They missed him in the first half when he went at a touchdown down the sideline, unaccounted for. It's a game of about 7.
You're the only one in the building that saw that, Joel. They ended up scoring,
June Jones is going to back that up.
Okay. We'll go back into some film study this week. We'll review.
We always do. 2nd and 3. Line only a yard that time. Good penetration up front. Hasley got in the backfield to alter the route of the running back, and he's brought down by Chucky Hunter. So even when Hasley doesn't get credit for the stop, he's involved.
Yeah. Well, he just, the old cliche, he's got a nose for the ball. That describes Joel Hasley.
Former walk-on.
Yeah, just a sophomore. But, they've had so many good linebackers go to the NFL from this defense, playing with speed and with great athletic ability.
3rd and 2. And he can run for it, and Gilbert will. Good decision, slides feet first, down to the 32. So that's a heads-up play.
It is a good heads-up play.
Only needed to. And he got a lot more than that.
Yeah, Chucky Hunter, the defensive tackle, had to come out of the game because his helmet came off. But this is a good decision. Sometimes you just got to make plays outside the scheme. And that has a lot to do with vision. The rules protect you. Once you slide feet first, they can't touch you. So really, they need to put together one of those drives, and you've got to convert 3rd downs like that, and you got to lean on your quarterback to do it.
Good decision by Garrett Gilbert. And the drive stays alive on what could be the final snap of the 3rd. Blitz off the edge, goes the other way, and it's intercepted again. Picked off by Kuntz. The end over there. 3rd time Gilbert's been intercepted.
This one was a bad throw. 1st down throw. There's no need to force it. They had a corner blitz coming at him, and steps into the throw. Look at the protection. I don't know if Kuntz didn't get it, Hasley might have gotten it.
Zach Line, the intended target, but that was a force. So now, talk about short fields. They just had the ball to their own 45. Now TCU has it at the SMU 31.
Boykin at the quarterback position.
Yeah, that'll do it for the third 15 minutes of play. So no points on the board for either side. It has been a tough night with the rain falling at a constant pace all night long with plenty of force and wind. And through 3 in the Iron Skillet game between TCU and SMU. Still a ball game. 15th ranked Horned Frogs, though, are on top by 11. Garrett Gilbert. Another mistake. Back-to-back picks thrown by Gilbert. And pretty good quarterback coach, his head coach, talking it over.
June's coached a lot of good ones in this run and shoot offense, but it is difficult to live with those kind of mistakes. The defense has played so well. They pitched a shutout here in the third quarter to TCU. Didn't give up a point.
Play fake with Catalan. And Boykin can't get away. Good play defensively by Jagarrett Davis, who just tracked him.
Yeah, Jagarrett Davis had a great game. I mean, he's been all over the field. Marcus Hunt gets penetration. They're not fooled by the play fake. Look at him shaking his head. You ain't coming this way.
Right. Don't bring it.
Don't come over here now. We got you defensed. But that's the attitude. I mean, Jagarrett, I talked to him before the game. I mean, this is senior year. This is the last time he gets to play TCU. You know, I mean, he's going to live with the offense's mistakes and see if they can get the ball back and force a takeaway. Those are some focused eyes right there by Jagarrett Davis.
Paul back into the game. And his numbers aren't flashing, but he hasn't hurt his team. Underneath, off the deflection, off the hands of Brandon Carter. And when I say that, Paul Hall is 10 for 25 now. Okay. Yeah. Not good numbers, obviously, for the most efficient quarterback in the country, hitting 76% coming in. And we've talked about the conditions. Point is, he's got 2 touchdown passes, no interceptions.
No, he's taking care of the football. Yeah, he's had a lot of drops. He's been fiery to his guys. You know, he's not happy with their performance. And, you know, he learned from Andy Dalton about how to take control of the team and when you got to put your foot down and get in their faces.
Manage a game.
Yeah.
Overcrom in. Let's see if Patterson could hold on to the wet football. Drop the elastic change on a short field goal try. This will be from 33 yards away and on its way. Kid's got a strong leg. It's good. And it's a 14-point lead for the Horned Frogs. They got a keeper in the true freshman out of Arlington's Martin High School. So the field goal is a 2-touchdown game now for Oberchrome. And TCU as they lead it a minute into the fourth by 14. A 43-yard field goal by Jaden Oberchrome has given TCU a 14-point advantage. Everything's numbered around here.
You need a flip card for the cheerleaders. That's the story. I mean, you know, the 3 interceptions and a fumble. Give Gary Patterson credit. They forced a lot of those turnovers. Playing fast, playing, you know, great athletic ability, good scheme, proven scheme. Young players growing up quickly here in a new Big 12 for TCU.
Oberchrome with a line drive, returnable one by Cole Lofton from the 2. Alley over the right side and tripped up just barely.
Shoelace.
Time for a Mazda game break as we head back to Kevin Frazier and Marcus Allen. Guys.
South Carolina trailing big to Kentucky, but they come out on fire in the second half. Marcus,
see the contact at the 2-yard line. He drags his defender into the end zone. He wanted 6. He got 6.
21 unanswered points from South Carolina. They're in control of this game against Kentucky. Joel?
All right, thought they used it all against Missouri. Missouri took too much out of them because they scored all those points against the Tigers.
It's good to see Eric Lattimore back, though. Lattimore back from that knee surgery from a year ago, pounding that rock into the end zone, showing some toughness and some strength that he's got back.
And they're bouncing back. You have a win like they had at home and a dominating win. So often you see a team let down. Underneath, complete for the first down. And a big gain for Jeremy Johnson breaking the tackle. All the way past the midfield stripe.
The first time tonight offensively where they've gotten a substantial gain after the catch. And that's because Gilbert was accurate with that throw and it got to Johnson on the run. That's what this offense is predicated upon, this run and shoot. I played in this offense when Jeff George was my quarterback in Indianapolis. You get the ball on the run to the receivers and let him get the momentum to pick up an extra 15, 20 after the catch.
It is a 23-yard gain, one of the biggest of the night for the Mustangs. He's got a line of the flat, and now he's on his way down. Pocket collapsed. So it's a loss of about 2 on the sack by Devontae Fields, along with Chucky Hunter.
Joel, he doesn't need to take the sack, though, because you're going to see right here, coming to the outside is Zach Line. He's what you call flare control. All right, he's just basically widening out. That's the safety valve if it's not there.
It's a loss, it's a sack, and it's 2nd and 12. 2 minutes into the 4th. Only a 2-touchdown game last year with 14 to play. It was 33-17 the other way around. SMU was up. Now can SMU come from behind? Gilbert. Yeah, he's got Zach Line and overshoots him. Another incompletion on an available target. Touch pass for Line.
So on that play, that's a scramble drill. So one guy goes short, one goes deep. Zach Line goes deep on this throw. I mean, this is a practiced play. It's outside the scheme of it. But on a scramble drill, one guy goes deep, and that's a throw. Has nothing to do with weather conditions or anything else. That's a throw that quarterbacks have to make because there's a lot of yards to be gained if he gets the ball to Zach Line.
Garrett Gilbert is now 10 for 30, 128 yards with 3 interceptions. So for the season, he's got 3 touchdown passes and 7 interceptions. 3rd and 12. Man, head start off the edge, but was he drawn off? Was it a false start?
Right to the snap, false start. Number 78 of the offense. 5-yard penalty remains. 3rd down.
Jordan Free, the left guard. So too many penalties for TCU. We talked about that. They've got a better than 135 yards in mark-offs. That's big for SMU. Manageable, potentially 3rd and 12, 3rd and 17. Long way for this offense.
Well, they haven't been productive. I mean, it's just a difficult yardage to overcome here on 3rd down. TCU's walking everybody up into the line of scrimmage. 2 deep safeties behind it.
Low snap. Gilbert in trouble in a 4th pick. Forced it, tried to get it to Derek Thompson, and intercepted. Picked off by Jason Verrett.
Well, who wants the ball more? I mean, does Thompson want it or Verrett want it? I mean, the ball is up for grabs. It's not a great throw, but Derek Thompson can certainly help his quarterback by coming back to the football. But Verrett wanted it more.
So the turnovers continue to plague the Mustangs, and Garrett Gilbert, as TCU up by 14, gets it right back.
America's Game of the Week is on Fox as Drew Brees leads the Saints against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. This week on Fox NFL Sunday.
It's a 14-point lead for the Horned Frogs as they get it right back on their 3rd consecutive interception of Garrett Gilbert. Time for a Coors Light freeze cam, dominated by the tough weather conditions that we've had all night. The drops, the mistakes, and basically the lack of offense. So the skillet is up for grabs still in a 14-point game. 10 of the last 12 have been taken by TCU.
Yeah, the skillet's at stake. You know, a lot of talk about that and the importance of it and the rivalry game and all of that. And Casey Pahal here is trying to put this game away and get the skillet back to Fort Worth. And SMU is trying to make a play to get back in the game.
Well, the skillet could be put away on this possession. Paul on an isolation, going deep over the head of Sky Dawson. Sky Dawson, it was not going to be able to catch. It was going out of bounds anyway. He was working against Chris Parks, but we've already seen him on a 50-50 ball go up and get one.
Yeah. I mean, look, when you're one-on-one coverage, I don't care what level of football right now, you're one-on-one, sometimes you got to throw it up and trust your guy is going to go get it, time it.
So we'll see the next time SMU has it. As their backup, had enough snaps and reps in practice, Connor Preston, to even have an option to go that way.
Well, he's throwing it down the field.
Good carry by Dean. Keeping the clock going up to the 37 for a gain of 4.
And I give credit here to TCU, to the backs, quarterback. They've done a good job of holding on to the ball. They've had one ball poked out here tonight, but otherwise they have been very good at taking care of it. That's good coaching, and maybe that's throwing wet balls on Thursday and, all the things they do to prepare for it. Time of possession has been huge, and that's their record. When they win that time of possession battle, that's one of the things you get when you run the ball more than you throw it.
Extra pass rusher, and it pays off. It's Tanner Reed on a big sack, a must sack of Paul Hall.
Well, it was. And it was actually good that Paul Hall doesn't force this here. Taylor Reed comes up, does a little delayed blitz. He waits to the guard, kind of goes to help out the center, and then he comes forward. Watch this little delay right here. See Fry turns away. Okay, Fry is the center. He sees him, turns away, and then as soon as he does, then he hits the gap, and he barrels right down to Paul Hall. And to Paul Hall's credit,
Snap gets away from Perry. Look out! Mustangs get it right back. A 1st and goal situation. The ball is picked up, and it's all the way down to the 1. So Ethan Perry, a true freshman punter, has the ball squirt free. Austin Fuller has picked it up and alertly takes it inside the 2 on that 1-yard line.
Unbelievable. I mean, I just get done talking about how they're taking care of the football, and SMU just has the entire sideline of SMU just erupted on this play. We've seen TCU get short fields and they've converted, but you're down 2 scores. If you can get a score right here, and I would expect Zach Line to go in there and get the ball in this situation, they could make this a 1-score game.
As soon as we talk about protecting the football and not putting it on the ground.
It, huh? Yeah, we jinxed it.
KOD. You're the KOD?
I did.
Kiss of death.
I apologize to all Horned Frog fans. It wasn't the intention.
Zach Line at the 1. 1st and goal. 11-11 left in the 4th. Line just barely got back to the 1. Wow. Talk about penetration up the middle.
Up. Yeah, inside there. Good job by Chucky Hunter. They rotate their defensive tackles in there. Good penetration. There's Hunter, 96. That's a load.
Boy, the specials have cost TCU the drop of the field goal attempt at 23 yards by Patterson. And now the drop by Ethan Perry, their punter. 2nd and goal to the 1. Spread the defense, and Gilbert's on his way down. They rocked him back to the 10, and off the edge, Mapunga along with Devontae Fields.
Well, Devontae Fields is coming right here. And he reads the play, and that ball, everything has got to be quicker when you're at the goal line. Everything. The routes have to be sharper. The quarterback has to get the ball out. And you just can't hold it like that. And so what was once 1st and goal at the 1, now is 3rd down at the, inside the 9?
He really got into him. That was just a jolt all the way up here. So Devontae Fields makes it 3rd and goal to the 9. Gilbert in trouble, into the corner and not close. He wanted Darius Johnson, but thrown well out of bounds. So the heat came from Chucky Hunter.
You got to go for it, Joel. I mean, I just think you
have to. You're down by 2 touchdowns with 9:40 to play.
Maybe you have to throw it underneath and allow one of your skill guys, one of the Johnsons, Thompsons, one of those guys to catch it on the run, and use their athletic ability to get in. It doesn't have to be thrown into the end zone.
If you got a pick play, this is where you use it.
Yeah. Well, we call it a rub, Joel.
Yeah,
it's a rub.
It's a pick.
Pick is what you do in basketball.
No, it's illegal, and it's a pick.
All right.
3rd, make it 4th and goal from the 9. Line and stays with the backfield. Gilbert, end zone, battered away from Sky Dawson. And check that, battered away instead as Sam Carter got his hand on the football. He knocks it away from Jeremy Johnson. So the defense, what a shock. The Horned Frogs D, one of the best in the nation, comes through. Devontae Fields with a big sack. And then the play in the end zone by Carter. Horned Frogs still up by 14. Fox College football presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. And by Sewell Automotive, a century of inspired service. We welcome you back to the campus of SMU as the rain continues to fall in Dallas. Well, Gary Patterson at his TCU program in his 12th season now in Fort Worth. They pride themselves on D, and one of the best defensive units in the country year in, year out. They're 9th overall coming in today. It's on 1st and goal, or 1st and 10 for the 9. It's Catalan for a yard. Well, they got it done defensively when they had to on 1st and goal from the 1 for SMU. Time for a Mazda game break as we head back to Kevin Frazier and Marcus Allen. Guys.
Joel, Ole Miss takes a 7-6 lead on Alabama. The ensuing kickoff, Christian Jones gets it, and he is gone, Marcus.
Nick Saban spends every moment on special teams. Takes advantage here. Christian Jones takes it the distance. Alabama's on top. 13.
All right, shame they have no speed on Alabama.
Look at that speed.
No speed at all.
Wow. At every part of their team.
It'll be 2nd and 9 when they put it back into play. A timeout is called. Or was it?
I know Paul Hall isn't happy with it.
Delay game.
Game.
Offense. 10-yard penalty. Correction. 5-yard penalty remains, 2nd down.
He's talking to the true freshman who came into the game, Colby Listenby. Now headed back over.
That's usually what happens when you make a freshman mistake like that. You get yelled at from the quarterback, and the coach takes you out of the game. Think about it for a while before we maybe put you back in the game.
Well, it tells you about Patterson, though, about what they do, how they hang their hat, the pride they take. When it's 1st and goal to the 1 to make it a 7-point game, they didn't come close to the end zone. Catalan stacked with a gain of 6 at the 10. So
that's a mentality, though, Joel.
Yeah,
that
well,
mentality, you're down, 1st and goal at the 1, you make a special team gaffe, the defense goes out there, and it rises up. And that has been ingrained by Gary Patterson. He calls the defenses. He's the coordinator.
And that's the underneath tackles, too. I mean, the guys, Fields, and you mentioned Chucky Hutter, the guys underneath did the job inside to push
stacked it up. They stacked up Zach Line, which was the best option for SMU to score. You'll like that. You'll like that aspect. He knows that this team is a long ways away from where he wants it to be, but I think he likes the toughness that they play with.
3rd and almost 9. Paul flushed out, and already with a bum ankle. He is put down in the open field by Roundtree. He's trying to scramble for the 1st down. But more importantly, they took another 2 minutes off the clock.
Yep. Well, I mean, that was, they didn't want to throw it, and so he did it. So, I mean, part of being the quarterback efficiency leader in the country is taking care of the football, and he's done that part.
Now, Perry dropped the last one. You think he had a towel on the sideline covering his hands before he came back out? He'll get into this one.
Wow.
And sends out a beauty. Acker backpedals on one hop and only to the 25-26. So the true freshman from Spring Branch, Texas, with a 64-yard punt, gambled downfield with the outstanding special teams play. And what's at stake? We're talking about the pride factor, the Iron Skillet game, all the way back to 1915. Well, 10 points on the board for SMU against the stingy TCU defense on a rainy night in Dallas. And you can see what they've done so far this season. 9th overall in total defense. But boy, did they get it done when they had to in the red zone.
Well, they've given up a total of 2 touchdowns.
There's Connor Preston on the sideline, their backup quarterback.
Well, his chin strap is buckled. I mean, he's ready to go, right?
We thought he was going. He did not come out of the sideline, though. Even though he was in the huddle, it was Garrett Gilbert. 3 straight picks before a 4 and out from the 1. And that's a goal to go, the 1. Gilbert on a tough throw gets it over to Darius Johnson. And there's a flag at the end of the play. Shows arm strength, doesn't it?
Yeah. It doesn't always go where I think he wants it to go, which is an accuracy issue.
Holding 7 of the offense. The penalty will be 10 yards from the previous spot. First down.
Another penalty on Brian Collins, the right tackle.
And that's him going up against Mapanga. I mean, it's just in. He's being out-athleted on the outside. He's been tough. He's fought, but that's the third, major infraction by Brian Collins tonight. And those things don't show up in the stat column for Stanley Mapanga, but he's affecting the game by forcing those kind of penalties.
Well, that's 9 mark-offs for 87 yards against SMU. Just about 150 against TCU. That kind of night. Gilbert waiting, man. He's got Derek Thompson. Gets the penalty yardage back across the 25 out to the 28, where he's thumped by Chris Hackett.
Yeah, Hackett knocked his mouthpiece right out. Derek Thompson's got to go pick it up.
That's a jolt.
That's a jolt, right? When you knock the mouthpiece out like that. Those 2 safeties now for TCU. Those guys are hitters, and they're impactful players in the middle of the field.
You're talking about Olabode
and Hackett, the 2 of them. They really roam the middle of the field.
6 to play with the clock moving. 3 timeouts on the board for the Mustangs. Here comes the heat. And not close again for Derek Thompson. Ponga again with the heat.
I don't care who you are. When you throw the interceptions that Gilbert has thrown, it's hard to shake that off. I don't care if you're Tom Brady or Drew Brees. You throw interceptions like that, it gets inside your head. It is difficult to shake it off. And when you have that kind of athletic ability from Mapanga coming to the front side, you're always thinking about it.
And Gilbert's thrown 4 tonight. He's 11 of 34. And he's on his way down with another sack. It was Devontae Fields who got him around the ankle from behind.
Well, they're just better. They're better at that position. I mean, that's a Big 12 athlete, the rookie or the freshman Fields. Mapanga on the other side. I mean, it's just, they're pass mode. And there's no Zach Line running the ball. There's nothing to keep them honest. And it's just been that kind of a night.
So ready to get the ball back. TCU gets the stop. 3 and out with the punt once again for SMU. Loftus will punt it. Sky Dawson waits. He'll stay away on a real short one, a wobbler. Yeah. It'll be inside plus territory for TCU inside the 45 down to the 43. Well, the Big 12 has fared really well in the non-conference season. 25-3 coming into the weekend, and 2 of the 3 losses, the Kansas Jayhawks in a rebuilding mode.
Yeah. Of course, now the conference schedule is taken on now. West Virginia, of course, with that 70-63 victory over Baylor. West Virginia undefeated. The 2 new teams in the Big 12, West Virginia and the TCU Horned Frogs, in place of Missouri and Texas A&M, have moved on.
Dean is the tailback. And they're going to just run the ball inside the 40 down to the 38. We're going down to Jim Knox. Jim.
All right, Joel, going into the game, Gary Patterson, the head coach at TCU, was very concerned that his team would match SMU's intensity. The emotion always seemed to be on SMU's side going in this game the last 2 years. Well, needless to say, this defense played with a lot of emotion tonight. Garrett Gilbert picked off 4 times. Defense comes to the bench. Right now, they're continuing to play with a lot of emotion and intensity. They continue to bring it here on the TCU sidelines.
Thank you, Jimmy. You can see the rain still pelting the surface here at SMU. It'll be Dean. And he's met. Trying the left side at the 37. Well, the one thing they did clean up, TCU, is the turnovers they had, especially in the red zone.
They had 7 in the first 3 games. They turned it over once today, didn't turn it over in the red zone. Gary Patterson will like a lot of things about this game. He'll like the defense. He'll like the way that they've hit I think one area that he is really going to work on is the offensive line and the running game right now.
Well,
just getting more push.
Penalties.
And penalties as well.
Penalties big time. But he had a legitimate gripe at the end, and that's why we saw him walking off the field talking to the referee, because you and I both saw 2 blocks in the back.
Yep.
Yet SMU had a field goal attempt at the end of the half where they called it personal foul.
Tausch over at right tackle right now for TCU, moving from left guard.
Timeout is called as TCU got up to the line late. That's called from the sideline. TCU doesn't have many yards offensively in the second half. They've only got 3 points, but they've given up only 46 yards to SMU in the second half. Fired up. Gary Patterson. Well, next Saturday, another full day for you right here on Fox. It all starts with 24-ranked Boise State in Hattiesburg, taking on Southern Miss. That'll be Iowa State coming up after that against these same Horned Frogs at Amon Carter in Fort Worth. FX Game of the Week in State Showdown. The Jayhawks and the Wildcats battle for the state of Kansas. Our coverage of college football will continue next Saturday right here, and also, don't forget, on FX with Kansas and Kansas State. So a typical TCU game for the most part in the second half. They shut down their opponent completely. SMU has not scored a point. They have had the ball taken away regularly. And it's been TCU's football.
And that's probably the driest the football has been all night. That actually, you see the ball actually placed on the field coming out of a timeout. That might not have happened for the first 56 minutes of this game.
They need 4, and number 4 won't get it. He wanted to run it again. Met in the middle, and then Hunt put him down.
Now, look, you can't fault in any way the intensity that the defensive team of SMU has played today. I mean, the defensive front, they played a lot of snaps, but Marcus Hunt has made his presence felt along with Pittman and Grenier. The whole group has played well up front. Shut down the running attack of TCU completely.
Ethan Perry will punt. They got the clock moving the way they wanted. Just taking 2.5 minutes. Bad snap. That was right through the legs of Perry. A one-hopper. So another mistake by the special teams. That's the second time the specials have turned it over, and make it really the third time because of the drop by Patterson on the field goal placement.
Well, this is, I mean, it's a bad snap. But, you know, the best thing they did was just get back on the ball. Just get on the ball and don't give SMU any kind of an easy play. It's a poor snap.
Yeah, Shelley, who's experienced, a senior from Austin, he was worried about the man over top. You could see him come up early.
And if I was June Jones, I'd throw go routes right here. I'd try, I mean, you're down 2 scores. You've got nothing to lose. I would just cut it loose and take a shot.
3 timeouts still on the board if you can get a quick score. SMU. I think he's thinking us along the same line. Yeah, good grab over the middle. Darius Johnson, his favorite target, senior from Missouri City, Texas. Pulls it in. He's got it down to the 29. It's not a first down, so they can't stop the clock for the movement of the chains. Let's see, picking up the pace on Gilbert. And outside he goes. It's available. Derek Thompson, did he get there? Yes. Touchdown SMU.
And that's what's been missing tonight. Just the run out to the catch, and that's because that was a good throw by Gilbert, hitting Thompson on the run, and all he had to do was slip one tackler on the outside. And that's what this offense is predicated upon. Just haven't had enough of these throws and catches tonight. That had a little mustard on it. You see Thompson, they're dangerous after the catch.
Did he get there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Good effort.
Good call. Good effort is right. So all of a sudden, an extra point away from a 7-point game with 2:08 to play. And don't forget, TCU pulled this trick last year late and forced overtime. SMU eventually won over with the extra point. He hooked it, and he missed it off the upright. That kind of night.
It has been that kind of
night.
How big those eyes are.
What next is going to go wrong?
That's just shock. But you know, if you're SMU and you're just going, how much worse can you get? You got to go onside kick right here. I mean, I was in Nashville, Tennessee last Sunday when the Lions scored 2 touchdowns with 16 seconds. Got an onside kick. You got to let the ponies get out there and stretch a little bit and run. Not many opportunities to do that tonight. But you're still just down one score. I mean, you're an onside kick, a touchdown, a 2-point conversion from tying this up. And that's exactly what TCU did a year ago.
They have 3 timeouts left.
Yeah.
So do you need an onside kick?
I wouldn't. The way this offense has struggled, Joel, I think their best chance is to try to get onside kick and score and go for the 2-point. I mean, if you kick it away and you take your timeouts and you can stop them and they punt, now actually put them in punt formation might be the best thing to happen.
Now remember, on an onside kick, on one hop, the receiving team can call a fair catch, the new rules.
Okay.
So it's not as simple as it used to be with a mad scramble. A high hopper.
It's one thing that the rule is in there. It's one thing to practice. It's another thing to execute that play. They're all up there right now. You can see that they are in onside kick mode. 9 players up within 10 yards of the scrimmage.
A regular place kicker, Mike Loftus. He is in there on the kickoffs, not Hover. And it is Hover now. Or will it be? Yep, it's going to be Hover. And onside kick with a flag down on an offside against SMU. They went early. It's covered anyway. Not even 10 yards, 9 yards by Ladarius Brown.
That's a good job by Brown. Caught the first touchdown pass of the game, and that's the second best catch that he had today.
No foul on the play. There's a timeout that was called prior to the kick by SMU. This is their first time out of the second half. It shall be for 30 seconds.
So SMU calls a timeout before the kick, the offside call, and the cover. So much for kicking it away now with 3 timeouts remaining.
Yeah, well, they didn't have the right people on the field, and so they called the timeout from the sideline prior to the kick, and they honored it. I don't think Gary Patterson's going to be happy about that.
It's under an 8-point ball game with 2:08 to play at 24-16.
Frank Gantz Jr., the special team coach right there with the white hat. His father, a longtime NFL special teams coach. Frank Jr. been in the NFL for a long time, back with June Jones here. He called that timeout when he didn't have the right personnel on the field.
Well, Loftus tees it up this time. Over hit it last time. They have both on the field, so options from either side.
Sure.
Brandon Carter, Sky Dawson back in case they go away from it. And onside it is, and it won't travel. 10 is too short. Another flag over to the far side, like another offside. It was covered by Merca. Dominic Merca on top of it.
Frank Gantz, special teams coach, can't believe that kick.
There was an illegal formation on the kicking team. The 5-yard penalty will be added to where the kick ended. The ball belongs to TCU. First down.
So now TCU will try to run out the clock. It didn't travel 10 anyway before Mercer covered it.
Well, they're just trying to, just trail it right here, and it just never got the distance. I mean, you would think on this artificial surface here that they practice that a lot, and the worst thing you can do is leave that ball short like that because you can't touch it till it goes 10 yards.
There were only 12 or 13 earlier in the day on the stimp meter. I know that. So now it's going to be a first down from the 36 for TCU. They can put it away once again. Run it out. 1 first down will do it. Only 2 timeouts remaining, but Andre Dean is stuffed complete. Timeout has to be called. And have they stopped the clock? No. Interesting. Finally they do.
They just let 6 seconds go off the clock. They're waiting for it.
Well, TCU, as they get ready for Iowa State, it's going to be, don't forget, on Fox next Saturday. Don't forget, look at the back end of their schedule. November and December. West Virginia on the road in Morgantown.
Well,
Kansas
Oklahoma
State
before that, yeah. This is some of the
then Texas, and
stars
they
that
finish
they're gonna see.
with Oklahoma. What a brutal schedule.
It is brutal. Colin Klein, I think one of the more underrated players in this country, just a great leader. What a great win for Kansas State last week in Norman, led by his, just his leadership.
They did not stop the clock, by the way. It's Andre Dean. Yeah, goes backwards for a couple of extra down to the 32. Now SMU will use their second timeout, minute 20 to play. Marcus Hunt on the stop. So they've got one more timeout. So 30-second timeout. Yeah. You got to believe they're going to run the football again.
Well, this is situational football. That's what Gary Patterson is talking about right now, about the options, what SMU can do, what we want to do. They're not going to put the ball in the air. They're not going to stop it with any kind of incompletion.
And don't forget, they're only 43, 44 yards out for their place kicker to put the game away.
Well, that's true, except that, they've shown a lot of inability to handle kicks. On this kind of a wet field right now, do you want to do that and take that chance?
They're due for a clean exchange.
Too bad punt situations in a row for TCU.
So one was a drop by their punter, Ethan Perry. The other was a bad snap by Shelley. Now, bring in the fullback in front of Dean. Haven't seen the eye tonight like this with a jumbo look. Dean stop it one more time, gets to the 29.
They stop it right now.
Minute 15 to play. Well, I still bring in the place kicker. Show some confidence in your field goal unit, and then it's iced. It's over.
It is. It's true. If you can put that out there and execute it perfectly, it does put it on ice.
He's already got a 43-yard field goal. That put him up 24-10. And that was 2 series after the dropped hold by Patterson.
On the other side, of course, you got Marcus Hunt, who's blocked 16 kicks all his time here at SMU. You got to think about that and protecting. That guy can change the game in one play at 6'8", long arms.
And they're not bringing out the field goal unit. It is Hall out there.
I think they'll go for it here to try and run for the first down. If they don't, then SMU will use their last timeout.
SMU out of timeouts now. It's 4th and 3. And TCU calls the timeout to see if they could get him offside before the play clock expired. Now they're not going to bring on the place kicking unit and put the game away. So he's a freshman from Arlington's Martin High School. He had 46 and 47-yard field goals last week in the win over Virginia. He's already hit a 43-yarder his last attempt in this game, and that was after short ones earlier. His only miss tonight was into a real stiff breeze and rain at the end of the half, and that was from 54 yards away.
Big tailwind behind him.
And we mentioned earlier as well, Brian, that he hit a 60-yarder in high school. That was last season in Arlington. So you talked about the wind, it's at his back. And it's going to be a 47-yard attempt. High snap for Patterson, gets it down anyway. And now, no, it'll be thrown to the tight end, Corey Fuller. And they stop it, and SMU now on the exchange. All of a sudden, they get it back with an opportunity.
That's why I said,
sequence.
Yeah, but that's why I said there wasn't anything guaranteed about just the execution of the operation. Gary Patterson, known for his great special teams. They've made some plays, and they also made some horrible mistakes.
So it was a bad snap because you wonder the way he threw the ball. Patterson threw it to Fuller.
This ball's going to be high. He doesn't think he can get it down, and I got to see the exchange because he looks like Overcombe wants to kick it.
Yeah, but he sold it. If he was trying to fake too. So now an opportunity, a life for Garrett Gilbert, who's already thrown 4 picks in this game. Four-man rush and underneath. It's not a first down. Won't stop the clock to Derek Thompson. It's good for about 8, maybe 9. 55 and counting left in the game.
Well, they're used to a no-huddle offense, so this every day.
Gilbert on his way down. The sack is a huge one. Chucky Hunter got to him. Straight up the middle. Put it back at the 36 with the clock moving.
Flat out can't take the sack. You got to throw the ball away if you're under pressure like that.
Time running out on SMU. Sidelines available, and he can't keep his feet. Clock's moving, 4th down. So now it's 4th and about 2. And the clock is their worst enemy. If anything, you may want to just go for it right here. Forget about the first down. Yep, they have to. And he will. And nobody in the neighborhood. All white jerseys, and it's intercepted, picked off by Verrett, and that'll do it. It is over, and the Iron Skillet, in a sloppy affair by both TCU and SMU. The Iron Skillet goes back to the Horned Frogs. So a mistake game, a mistake-filled game, especially by SMU. The penalties are TCU. But a lot of mistakes both sides.
Well, the weather contributed. We said from the very beginning that how are you going to handle the weather, and neither team did a very good job of it. It was sloppy, it was mistake-filled, but at the end of the day, TCU's defense rose to the challenge and really did a great job of keeping the score down. And so 24-16, they'll take it. They'll get to 4-0 any way that they can and hope that they don't see a monsoon like this, like they saw tonight.
It rained all night long, and very heavy rain, especially for the first 3 quarters of this game. That'll do it from Ford Stadium on the SMU campus. 24-16, TCU prevails by 8. Join us next Saturday. Fox College football twin bill. Noon Eastern, Boise State Southern Miss. Big 12 follows as Iowa State takes on TCU. That'll be at 3:30 Eastern. For Brian Baldinger, Jim Knox, our entire Fox crew, I'm Joel Myers. Thank you for joining us on a real wet night in Dallas. And thanks for watching Fox College football on all the Fox Sports networks. The Horned Frogs of TCU for the 11th time over the last 13 seasons own the Iron Skillet and get it back for the Mustangs of SMU. So long, everybody.